be here.
The people who aren't supposed to be here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's not supposed to be here?
You came here illegally?
Well, I have a question. Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you were how old again?
25.
And you said what year you were born?
2000.
What month?
May 22nd.
May? Didn't you say 20 when you first got on the live?
What?
Didn't
I was joking.
You were joking.
Yeah. I was obviously joking, bro.
Chat, do I believe? What do you mean by believe, I tell you? Yeah, chat. They also just, like, were just mean to me for no reason. I was like, bro, what? Okay, let's go on to the next person. I do think that they were probably a fetus. I was probably leaning towards that as well. Typically, when someone lies to me about their age or even says that they are joking about it, I don't actually, like, think they're joking. Most times they aren't joking. Yo, what's up, how old are you? Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Please only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Do tap that screen. Do share the live. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream, everybody. Help send it out to more people. Let's get the next person up here real quick. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, what's up, how old are you?
What's up? I'm 25.
Do you support Trump?
Yes and no with the whole Israel-Iran thing, kind of less and less.
If you could go back in time, would you still vote for him?
The one thing that made me vote for him is Kamala saying she wants to do buybacks. Not a big fan of that.
I'm asking, like, if you could go back in time, would you still vote for him?
That's a tough question. I mean, right now, I don't know if another president would. I feel like every president would follow whatever Israel wants, and they would still bomb Iran. So at least he didn't. I think I'm right in saying he didn't kill any civilians or anything. He just bombed the nuclear sites, which still isn't good. It's probably going to end badly. But
does it
I don't
not
know.
put us at war with Iran?
It does, but I feel like every president would. We're all puppets of Israel. Do you think we are or not?
Okay, I'm sorry. So, like, you're saying that the war with Iran would have happened either way?
Yes.
Okay, I don't necessarily think that there's good enough evidence to substantiate that we would have had war with Iran either way.
You don't think so? You don't know about the seven
especially because we had a nuclear peace agreement, right? Already established.
Look at if you look
specifically limited them from getting access to nuclear weapons that Donald Trump pulled us out of.
Yeah, but if you look at historically, we said the same thing with Iraq, and this is an exact playbook.
Wait, no, that's actually what was the same thing was said was that there are weapons of mass destruction, and we have to go to war with them because it is the case that there are weapons of mass destruction there. And now you're using the same set of justification right now to go to war with Iran.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you look historically, if America did that with Iraq.
I don't think that's justified. You think that's justified? Wasn't Donald Trump against that?
Wait. Are we?
Wait. Donald Trump was against the war with Iraq.
Hold on. I think we're speaking past each other. What I'm saying is, we did this with Iraq. So I think no matter who the president was, this was our plan to do it to Iran as well. We had the 7-country plan in the Middle East. You know this: Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. I don't forget the other ones, but you know about the 7-country plan to take over the Middle East.
I could just clarify. Go for it. I'm not familiar.
So I had to look up the exact 7 countries, but we had a plan to take over the Middle East, and you know how we destabilized Iraq when we lied about WMDs. What I'm saying is we did this in the past. We're puppets of Israel. No matter who the president is, we would have done this to Iran. I think at least Trump isn't bombing the citizens. At least
I don't think you can write it off as like this specifically is just because he's a puppet of Israel, right? I don't think that you can write it off as it's just that. I think you can write it off as Donald Trump's fucking unhinged. He's insane. He's a lunatic. He's putting us at risk of war, which is something that he doesn't have to do when he can engage in negotiation because he wants to seem strong himself. So it's not. So when you boil it down to just that he's a puppet of Israel, it takes away from the other facts that led to him doing this in the first place, right? Other than the fact that he's a puppet for Israel.
Well, yeah. Well, here's how we were in negotiations, and I think it was the head negotiator of Iran said that we could have peace with the U.S., but then Israel bombed and killed him.
Wait, restate that one more time.
The head of the negotiations for Iran said that we could have relations, peace relations with the U.S., but then Israel bombed them.
When was when did that happen?
The most recent bombing that Israel did that started this whole thing.
No, towards
like a
that
week
person.
and a half ago.
No, towards that person.
They got Mossad got the high-ranking officials of Iran in a building and bombed them. You didn't hear about this?
Yeah, I'm asking, did that happen before or after the U.S.'s involvement?
I mean, U.S. has been involved with Israel for like 25 years. It happened after the involvement.
We're talking about involvement, particularly with Iran.
Yes, but the U.S. wasn't attacking Iran until right now. So this happened before. It's Israel's fault. They put us in that spot.
This happened under Donald Trump's presidency. If this same thing happened under the Biden-Harris administration, right, you would have blamed that on the Biden-Harris administration. You would have said that wouldn't happen if Trump was in office. That's actually exactly what Donald Trump said. He said that Russia-Ukraine would have never happened under his administration. What?
I am one putting us in this tough spot. If anybody else was president and Israel,
I disagree with I disagree with our allyship with Israel. That's one of the big critiques that I have of the Democratic Party is the pro-Israel position, right? I don't think we should be supporting Israel's offensive war with Iran, right? I don't think that we should be doing that at all. I have a question. Do you support?
We agree.
Okay, so you disagree with it. Okay, well then here would be my point.
Not a fan of Israel.
Okay, well then does that get you to a point where you wouldn't vote for him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. It really does. But the big thing that's tough is like,
wait, Danny, if you
Kamala wanted buybacks, AR-15 buybacks. That's a big thing. If liberals and the left are afraid of a tyrannical government, wouldn't the biggest thing you want is guns and the accessibility to guns?
Do you think you're going to be able to fight the military or something? I'm sorry, like
no, that's not the argument.
Wait. I'm not advocating to get rid of.
I'll tell you why.
Can I please explain? You asked me a question.
Yes.
I would love to respond.
Then can I explain?
Explain what?
You asked the question, do you think you can fight the military? I'll tell you why you need guns. You need guns because the military is not, a tyrannical government is not just going to nuke its society. What they're going to do is they're going to take you from your homes, just like they did in Nazi Germany. And if you have guns, that is the deterrent. Yeah, you're not going to fight a tank. You're not going to fight a nuke. But all you need is the people to be armed, and that's the deterrent.
Okay, so again, I'm not saying get rid of all guns, right? I wasn't even saying that, but supporting some gun control legislation is effective because it reduces how many people are unalived.
No.
Are you saying you disagree with all gun control legislation?
Not all gun control, but AR-15 backpacks.
Okay, so
banning AR-15.
Okay, so to clarify, right? You think that is a good enough reason to support Donald Trump? Is to say that she is okay with governmental buybacks, not even mandatory, right, for AR-15s?
No, she wanted mandatory buybacks.
That was only 2020. That was not 2024.
I mean, if someone says that kind of scares me, even if 4 years go by.
Okay, Donald Trump called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. In that specific context, are you arguing that Donald Trump, right, is undermining the Second Amendment then? Right? So are you still saying that
he called for what?
He called for a termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. So if you call this a threat to the Second Amendment, that's an even greater threat to the Second Amendment.
That's a bad. When did he say that?
After he thinks that he won the 2020 election. He said that the founders of this country wouldn't want false and fraudulent elections.
So,
yes, he's unhinged.
I wonder. I got to look that up. I feel like you're kind of twisting what he said. I don't know. What he said,
I'm literally not at all.
He called for all rules and regulations to be whatever abolished.
Yes, it's something he posted on Twitter.
Wow, that's not good. I think.
Wow.
I think. Yeah, that's bad. That's not good.
Do you want me to read it to you? I'll read it to you if you'd like.
Yeah,
so with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party do throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections.
You got to be fair. That's a lot different than what you said. He wants to terminate all the rules and like laws. That's a little different.
Wait. A massive fraud of this type in magnitude allows
Yeah.
for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Did you hear the first part? He's like, a massive fraud calls for this. But that's different than just saying, I, Donald Trump, want to terminate all the rules.
I told you that it was explicitly because he thought he won the 2020 election.
Yeah, he's saying you can agree. I mean, that's kind of hyperbolic of Trump. But if
how did I misrepresent what happened?
Like that,
how did I misrepresent what happened?
Well, because I'm not saying you did it in bad faith, but you did say Trump called for he wants to terminate all rules and regulations of the law. I mean, he said.
I said he wants to terminate all. Like this I said he wants to terminate the all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. That's what I said.
Yeah, and that makes it sound like he just wants to become like a king. But he's saying if
that's exact verbatim what he said.
No, he's saying if a fraud of that magnitude occurred, then we have to terminate. It's hyperbolic, but it's not the same as just saying, when I get president, I want to terminate all the rules.
He does think the fraud happened at that magnitude, so he thinks it's justified to overturn the results of overturn the Constitution. There was no good evidence of election fraud. He's just saying that to say that. He's doing that so that he can undermine your rights.
Yeah, and that's not good. But he's saying that if a fraud,
so if we know historically speaking, he lies about the state of affairs that are happening in order to be able to undermine your rights, then why wouldn't you expect for him to be doing it right now?
Say the first part. Sorry, you said historically what?
Literally, he called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. If you are having an issue with Kamala Harris in 2020 advocating for a mandated buyback specifically just for AR-15s, well, then you must have an issue with Donald Trump, right? Literally a year after that, calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because that applies to the entirety of the Second Amendment.
Yes, that is very bad if he did that. I would.
What do you mean if he did that? I just read it off.
Yes, he said that, but if he did it. If that was his goal.
Oh, okay. So then if Kamala Harris did it, she didn't do it.
Yes, but yes, I know. I understand. But the difference is
you realize how ridiculous that sounds now.
But there's a small difference.
Earlier you were complaining about Kamala Harris just saying it, not doing it. Kamala Harris just saying it.
Well, she said that she wanted to do it, and Trump is saying if there was a fraud of that magnitude, then
he actually believes there was a fraud of that magnitude and was legitimately calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because he does believe that. What are you talking about?
Then that's fair. I agree. That's not good.
Okay, well then, do you agree that that's?
I didn't know this was mainstream.
Yeah, yes, it's incredibly well known.
Mainstream. I never heard that, but that's not good at all.
He literally posted this.
Mainstream. He wants to take. He wants to do that.
He posted this.
Now that you're telling me,
he posted this. Do you want me to show you the tweet or something?
I believe you.
Okay. So then, would you agree that he's worse?
With that knowledge, yeah.
Okay, so then would you say that if you could go back in time, you wouldn't vote for him?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, with the Iran thing is really tough.
Iran.
Iran. Sorry.
No. I'm just clarifying, right? Just because people in typical.
Yeah, you guys.
Right. I've said that. Dean has I'm just saying because I do the same thing with everyone. I'm just clarifying because that's the correct pronunciation I've heard it is. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you coming up.
Interesting stuff, dude. Thanks.
All right, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. That's one Trump supporter converted right there. Look at that, chat. Look at that. One Trump supporter converted. Let's go on to the next person. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Linktree in the bio, as well as the description in the YouTube. As well as if you're going to support me, make sure to follow here on TikTok or subscribe here on YouTube. It's absolutely free to do so. Absolutely free to do so. Make sure to do that, as well as you can tab that screen on TikTok. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like the stream. Let's try to get to 1.5 thousand likes real quick, everybody. Rachel, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yo.
Yeah. I think I get you, Rachel. I think one day I probably would. What's up? How old are you?
24.
What state do you live in?
I'm actually no American. I'm British.
Okay. Well, I am just looking for people who do support Donald Trump and are, did vote for Donald Trump. Jen, thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you so much. Aaliyah, thank you so much for the $5. Mental, thank you for the $10. Thank you. Kirk, thank you so much for the $5. And Rob, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Rob. Thank you. Of course, Rob. Of course, Rob. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry. Again, I'm so sorry to hear what happened. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello, I'm 20.
Do you support Trump?
100%, yeah. Why would I not?
What's your birth year?
2004,
Okay. What month?
December.
Okay. So why do you support Trump?
Mainly because of like his like opinion about like trans people.
Okay, so to clarify, you don't care about anything else. You just care about his opinion on trans people.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really, nothing else.
I mean,
You don't care about him being held civilly liable for sexually abusing a woman or bragging about walking into changing rooms of girls in Miss Tuesday because he quote unquote owns the place to inspect them with their consent, or saying you would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, right? Or like him literally taking us to war right now.
I mean, are we in a war right now?
Yeah.
How?
Donald Trump said it himself.
Really?
Why is he asking Iran to end the war? Explain that.
He's not,
if we're not in a war, if we're not in a war, why is he asking Iran to end the war with the United States?
He was actually asking Iran for peace, which I think that's very good.
Okay, he's peace from what?
What do you mean peace in general? Like let's stop like bombing each other.
Oh, okay, so war. So they want peace from war.
Would you say that like just because we bomb each other, it's automatically war?
What is war?
I know that's like the philosophical question that we need to start asking ourselves.
I'm asking you. What do you consider war?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's like a very deep philosophical question that we can like discuss hours.
Thank you.
Like,
thank you very much. Could you give me like a general answer?
I don't know. Maybe like, I mean, like you're gonna laugh at this, but maybe like I don't know, like Call of Duty or something. I don't know.
Get off my live.
Ha ha ha! Loser.
Get off my live. Call of Duty? I can't, bro. He said, bro, Black Ops 2 is looking like real life. Yo, what's up, all of you? Oh, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Please only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Appreciate the handout. Thank you so much, Alan. Let's go on to the next individual. Please, everybody, only send a fucking guest request if you do support Donald J. fucking Trump, the horrible, horrible, horrible president of the United States. Yo, what's up, how old are you? Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Please only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Let's go on to the next person. Yo, what's up, how old are you?
21.
Do you support Trump? Let's go on to the next person. Yo, what's up, how old are you? They've got an echo. Let's go on to the next individual real quick. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Let's go on to the next person here real quick. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Thank you for the racing helmet. Yo, what's up, how old are you? I'm sorry, everyone. That came out of nowhere. I just randomly like choked on air. All right, let's get the next person up here. If you're on TikTok, do make sure to tap that screen. Let's get to 500,000 likes. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream, everybody. By the way, everyone, we're going to try to get on to the next person real quick. Only do send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Let's go on to the next individual. If you're MAGA, type in the comment section right now if you want to be brought up. If you are 18 plus, if you did vote for Donald Trump and you do support him. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream, everybody. Yo, what's up, how old are you? Okay, let's go on to the next individual. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Again, everyone, we are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up, how old are you?
18.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
What's your birth year?
2007, January 6th.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes.
To clarify, when you were 17? Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Let's go on to the next individual. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Do tap that screen, share the live. It will help get it out to more people. If you're MAGA, type in the comment section right now if you want to be brought up. Some reason it doesn't let me bring up people from the box sometimes. I mean, from the chat. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, no, shit, sorry. I'm 19. I didn't think you were going to accept me. I'm not going to lie.
How old are you?
I guess that like's done. I'm 19.
Anthony, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Yeah,
Your name is Jake, right?
Up here.
Yeah, Anthony, how old are you?
You want me to mute until you're done with him?
Yeah, Anthony, how old are you?
23.
And do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you support Trump?
I think so far through his presidency, he's done a lot of good things for the United States, and the way that he's dealing with the war currently is pretty good.
Okay, so you agree with him going to war?
We're not necessarily at war. We've been helping them since like World War II, bro.
Okay, then why did Donald Trump call for the end of the war?
He didn't necessarily call for the end of the war. He just wants peace, and he bombed.
He did. I can
he
show you a
bombed.
tweet of him calling for the end of the war from True Social.
Yeah, the war between them. It's not a world war.
No,
it's not a world.
Wait. Whether or not it's a world war doesn't change whether or not it's a war in of itself. And I'm just saying, Donald Trump, right? He's not only causing war, he's getting us involved in war, but he's not upholding his own main tenet of, what every Trump supporter was claiming: no new wars under Trump.
No,
Peace, world peace under Trump, world peace.
right. No new wars.
We won't go to war, I promise you. A vote for Donald Trump means we are not going to war. A vote for Kamala Harris means World War III, means death, destruction, everything destroyed. I tell you, every single thing in this world will be destroyed if Kamala Harris is president. But if Donald Trump is president, we have world peace, I promise you.
I'm saying these wars have been going on before Trump, and
No, this one was caused by Trump. He literally bombed nuclear enrichment sites within Iran.
He bombed them so that
Yes.
they can't use and create nuclear weapons on us or Israel.
Okay, well, you know that Israel's
trying
been.
to save
Wait, I
the
just want to
world,
clarify.
Parker.
He's trying to save the world, Parker. You know
Yes,
that. You know
he
that's the
is,
same
bro.
fucking justification. Well, I just want to clarify. That's the same justification neocons used throughout the entirety of the 2000s. Of they have weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East. We have to go in and we have to stop them from getting weapons of mass destruction. Okay, he's using the same set of justification that he disagreed with. He said that was wrong in 2016, and now you're running that same playbook right now. How the fucking tables have turned.
Well, you can't just sit around and do nothing like Biden.
What do you mean do nothing? What are you talking about? You're
Like
advocating.
Biden,
Wait, I have a
nothing.
question. You think that the U.S. should be involved in supporting Israel's literally offensive war with
No,
Iran,
no, we
right? But you
shouldn't
don't.
have gotten
But you
involved
don't
in
think the U.S. should be involved in defending Ukraine from Russia invading them when we have an agreement with them called the Budapest Memorandum, meaning that we would defend them if they gave up their nuclear weapons. It was a defense agreement to get them to give up their nuclear weapons, and we said that we would defend them in that context. And then now we're not doing it because Donald Trump pulled aid. But because he wants to then spend that money on offensive wars in the Middle East.
I mean, when our security is at risk, you got to do something.
What do you mean our security is at risk? What do you? How?
If Iran, hold on, if Iran were to get nuclear weapons, what are they going to do with them, Parker? What are they going to do with them? Death to America.
You don't know.
Yes, they're going to.
Wait, by the way, I want to clarify. Just because they claim death to America within certain things, right? I think it's like something like the charter or something that you're referencing for like the government. Right, but
no, I'm saying
hold up. Let me address that. That doesn't mean specifically that they would drop a nuke. Do you think that they understand what's called as mutually assured destruction? That if you nuke another country that has nuclear weapons, you will get nuked as well. And if you destroy that, then you will get completely destroyed yourself. So everything you care about will be destroyed if it is the case that you bomb the other country.
I don't think they're concerned with that at this point. Iran, honestly.
Iran, yes, they are. Absolutely, they are. You don't. Wait. Do you think the government in Iran wants power?
Of course.
How can they have power if their country's destroyed? You see what I mean? You just immediately don't even realize that they specifically want power. If they want to stay in power, they're not gonna drop nukes. Okay.
I mean, they're not expecting us to nuke them.
And
back.
also, I just want to let you know, we're in this position right now because Donald Trump pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement that we had with Iran, that they specifically wouldn't develop nuclear weapons. We even had a third-party agency verifying that they weren't doing so, and they were completely upholding that until Donald Trump pulled us out of the deal. So Donald Trump is the reason right now why specifically we even have to do this in the first place under your perspective.
That still just goes right back to where we were before Trump even got into presidency, Parker.
What?
We like the Democrats put us here. What do you mean?
No, that's just that's objectively false.
Yes,
that is objective.
yes.
I just explained to you how Donald Trump was the reason why we're here in this very first place because he pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement. And you're like, no, it was actually Democrats.
No, I'm saying in the Middle East,
no. Okay, so if you think it's Democrats, please explain to me, what did the Democrats do?
I'm saying all the way back to World War II.
What did the Democrats do? Oh, the World War II? The reach is diabolical. The reach is diabolical. You
we
fucking
never had to do that.
He just went back 80 years for that reach. He just went back 80 years for that reach. I can't even believe it.
It goes that far back. It goes that far back, brother.
Yo, Anthony, bro.
No, but we're talking about Democrats.
Anthony,
What do you mean
80
Democrats
years
from 80 years ago? What the hell are you talking about? How could you blame Kamala Harris for Democrats from 80 years ago even? What? That doesn't even make any sense.
I'm saying over time, maybe not that far back, but the past 20 years, maybe the past like 10, 20 years, bro, the Democrats have aligned us with the Middle East to continuously be helping them, funding them, all kinds of stuff, bro.
Okay, wait, I have a question then. What did they do?
What do you? I just told you they've been funding the Middle East to.
In what way? Like, can you give me what specifics you're referencing?
It's a good thing to, get rid of war, bring peace.
I'm asking, who are they funding?
They're funding like weaponry, obviously.
Okay, so then you disagree with United States weaponry being used on behalf of Israel to fight offensive wars in Iran.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I'm saying from the start, we should have never got involved. But now that we're in this situation,
okay. Wait,
nothing.
Okay, I have a question. Then that same reasoning should also apply to Ukraine, right? No, that doesn't apply to Ukraine, does it? Oh, shit. Shucks. It doesn't apply to literally defending Ukraine from Russia invading them, but it applies to an offensive war on behalf of Israel. Interesting.
Okay, I'll agree with that. Maybe Trump could be doing something more about the situation with Putin. I mean, he's attempted to do some things, but
yeah, he gave Putin more power. That's what he did.
Putin's just doing whatever he wants to do, man. He's not even listening.
Yeah, because Donald Trump gave him more power and gave him the right to do that, whereas Biden was actually fucking holding him to shit. Like, Donald Trump looks weak to Putin. Donald Trump is weak on Putin. How does that feel?
I think it was more so Biden just doing nothing, so he's not really.
What do you mean
Biden?
Biden got the entirety of like the West to defend Ukraine from Russia. Ukraine is still a country today because of Biden. I'm not trolling.
Yo, Poker, real quick though, I just want to say, cause I've been seeing it for like the past 10 minutes. There's a like, I don't want to say it on thing. Like, there's like a corn profile that keeps commenting on your shit. It's kind of weird. So.
You just call me Porker?
No. I said Parker.
I thought you called me either Porker or a Poker. Sorry, I was confused. No. I thought you were talking to the guest, actually. That happens all over TikTok. I actually try whenever I see accounts like that to block them and delete the comments and stuff. But I couldn't look through on all the different TikToks.
Cool, my bad, sorry.
But yeah, that does happen. You're chill.
So just one more question for me. So you think Trump bombing Iran was bad? You think it was
yes. Trump bombing Iran was bad. Yeah, that puts us at risk. That puts thousands of American soldiers at risk of dying. That puts innocent civilians at risk of dying within the region. Right. That increases global tensions.
That is true, but we've been having casualties for years. I mean, not years, but months.
More under Trump. Let's look at the casualties. 16 service members died in conflict under the Biden-Harris administration. Or under the Trump administration, it was 65. And of the 16 that happened under the Biden-Harris administration, some of them died because of people that were given back to the Taliban because of Donald Trump's deal with the Taliban. Appreciate the head mustache. That Biden had to follow through with.
I mean, but say they were to create those nuclear weapons and get to where they want to get Iran, and they cause something catastrophic to happen to America or Israel, even furthermore.
Do you agree that we're in this position right now because of Donald Trump? Not only in the war
Not
because of
necessarily,
him, because
but
of
what
his plans
you can-
specifically for like the bombing of nuclear enrichment facilities that are owned particularly by the Iranian government, but also in terms of the fact that he pulled out of the nuclear peace agreement. You have to acknowledge this. Push that mustache.
I acknowledge that.
Okay,
That's
well then, if you acknowledge that, well then, how do you support Donald Trump even though he's literally causing wars?
I'm saying that, like, say he didn't bomb them, correct? And then
Okay.
No. But I'm saying, like, if he didn't, then they create the weapons, then they did something catastrophic to America and or Israel. Like, furthermore, like
Israel has been claiming that since the 90s. Again, no good evidence that they had nuclear weapons back then. Secondly, Donald Trump pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement. If he actually cared about that, why did he do that? And then thirdly, in terms of this, right, why would they do that given that there's something considered as mutually assured destruction? That if they drop nuclear weapons on the United States, everything they care about will be destroyed. Pet, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I mean, you have a point with that, but I mean, I think just Iran might be at the point where it's like, if we're going to take you down with us.
And the rancher, thank you for the $2.
If you get what I'm saying, like, they just don't really care at this point.
You have no good reason to believe that. That's ridiculous. Also, again, you already conceded.
Wow.
Listen. You already conceded that they want power, right? The people in the Iranian government. If they want power, how are they going to have power if it is the case their entire country is fucking destroyed? They can't. They can't have power. So mutually assured destruction is so genuinely effective because it is the case that it's a deterrence for war because they don't want their own country to be destroyed. Mantle, think of the $2. Why do you think that there was never nukes dropped, right? Specifically on other powers that have nukes. Pumpkin, think of the $5. The U.S. is only considering dropping nukes on countries that don't have nukes. And then also, here's my next question, right? If North Korea was close to getting a nuclear weapon, would you agree with bombing North Korea?
I mean, repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if North Korea was close to getting a nuclear weapon, would you think it's justified to bomb North Korea?
I mean, if they were like, if they were speaking on the way that the Iranians were, like the government was for the past years been saying like, oh, the U.S. better, warnings and this, that, and the third. We're gonna death to America.
I'm just asking, if North Korea was close to getting nuclear weapons, would you support bombing North Korea? Yes or no?
Not today, but if they started like saying,
like $2, thank you.
Not if they.
Okay, I think the $5. Wait! Didn't we have this whole thing with North Korea that they wanted to like hurt the United States, and they threatened us, right? And that's what Donald Trump was saying. Is this big, huge threat that we have to deal with, and that's why he wanted diplomacy with North Korea. If that's true, well then how is that any different?
It's not too much different.
Oh, okay. Then would you think it's justified to bomb North Korea?
Well, not necessarily. Can't just go bombing everybody, bro. But
yeah, look at him. Look at him.
We have a long history with the Iranians, not as much as North Korea as much. I mean, man, you got me fucking all right.
It's a good point too. Like it's a good point. It's actually like genuinely demonstrates that Donald Trump's foreign policy here is unfucking hinged. It's unhinged. It's so unhinged. All right, you can't even justify it. Dude, it's such bad foreign policy. You have fucking older millennial making videos disagreeing with it. I'm serious. You have older millennial disagreeing with this. Okay. He made a video disagreeing with this. That's how you know this is such an unhinged position. If you have older millennial against you, holy, as Trump, you've got to think you're unhinged. That's diabolical. Ro, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $10. Thank you so much.
I mean, I feel like
yes, Ro, they actually did. There was a party switch. Yes. Go ahead. You were saying?
I still feel like at the end of the day, if Trump didn't do anything and then Iran was to get nuclear weapons, then they did do something catastrophic. Still, in the end, everyone would be like, "Oh, Trump didn't do anything."
Actually, no. But also, again, we have no good reason they would do that. This is again the same claim of weapons of mass destruction. Susie, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Christine, thank you for the $30 for Call of Duty. Thank you. Nessa, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Season with the $5. Thank you. Sarah with the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. They said, "Hi, please tell your guests that Iran has attacked 0 countries in the past 200 years." And then Addison, thank you for the $2 for Candace Owens disagrees with Trump. Yep, literally.
That's
Iris,
very
thank you for
true.
the $10. Thank you so much. John with the $15. Thank you so much. Catherine with the $26 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Car, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're caught up.
Someone said they haven't attacked many countries.
Yeah, that's at least what they said. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Sonny,
they
thank you
have
for the $2.
have much of an air force, like.
Ryan, thank you for the $1. Okay, I'm confused. I'm really confused what your point is. And do you really see it to be justified to start war with Iran? And if you don't see it to be justified, well, then why is it the case that you support him even though he's starting wars that are increasing global tension? Even though he's destroying our relations with our allies, giving Putin more power?
I don't see it as starting a war, though, because it's already something that was happening and had already conflicted before Trump even became president.
Okay, he authorized the bombing of nuclear enrichment facilities within Iran. That is him starting it. Wes, thank you for the $5. Thank you.
Yeah, but just allowing them to have nuclear plants and trying to create weapons against us is just
okay. Well, then why did he pull out of the nuclear peace agreement?
In case something happens, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I mean, it's where we are now.
What's preferable, reducing sanctions on Iran and unfreezing some of their accounts, right? Or going to war with them?
I don't know. I'd look at
you
it.
Don't know.
Wait. I see it as a good thing that those plants were bombed. That's how I look at it. That those don't exist anymore.
He wants to. Yeah. Again, they wouldn't have existed if Donald Trump never pulled out of the agreement. Good job, Donald Trump. You got us in this position in the first place. Now under your view, you have to risk literally global conflict and war just because Donald Trump pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement for no fucking reason. Rachel, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Gen X is strong in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kevin, thank you for the $20 in YouTube super chat. Thank you so much, Kevin.
I think our government is a lot less worried about getting attacked by Iran than we are attacking
Iran.
them. My bad.
Yeah. So I understand that you think that they're not scared of it, but that's going to lead to U.S. soldiers dying. It could lead to broader conflict within the context of the region, right? And us spending trillions of dollars again. So dude, you don't know what you're fucking with. You have no clue what you're talking about at all when it comes to this, and this is harming our ability to actually keep the world a safer place. You know that, right? Not only for the United States, but for everyone.
Anything isn't good. I mean, but
we would have had a nuclear peace agreement if Donald Trump didn't pull us out. Why did he do that? You still don't know. There's no explanation that you can give for that. Seriously, you can't say that you defend that.
What should he have done, in your opinion, with this?
He shouldn't have pulled out of the nuclear peace agreement. And then in terms of this specifically with Iran, right? I don't think that he should have gone to war with Iran. I don't think that he should have bombed them.
What is he going to do about them attacking Israel, though?
I don't think
he's got to do something.
I think that's it. I don't think the U.S. should be involved in. Wait.
This ties back to already being involved in the Middle East.
I don't think we should be. I don't think we should go and be on fight on behalf of Israel. I don't know what the fuck's the reason for that. All right, now you think that we should pull out of Ukraine? In terms of
no, I think that was good. I think that was good to help Ukraine.
Okay. So then Donald Trump's not upholding that. So he decides not to uphold that, but then he decides to uphold Israel on their offensive wars? So we can't support Ukraine in a defensive conflict to save their country, but we can support Israel in offensive wars that they started.
No, I'm not saying he can't. No, he can support both. I'm just saying, like, we were already having to support them in the first place before Trump even had to deal with the situation. So Trump's coming into this like, all right, we already have ties with these people, and they are probably expecting help from us. So we're going to have to do something. You can't just do nothing.
Yeah, he didn't say that with Ukraine, so that's not a good justification at all. We had the Budapest Memorandum with Ukraine. He didn't say that. What did we have with Israel that committed us to like helping them in this conflict?
No, but what I'm saying is the war didn't end when Biden left presidency.
I'm asking what particular agreement do we have with Israel, right? Specifically to involve ourselves in this conflict. We don't have any agreement. The idea that we have such an agreement is just conspiracy theory, made up information that some MAGA supporters will use in order to justify them, being war hawks. This is literally something that you would be arguing against, right? Incredibly before. If I were to ask MAGA supporters this question before, if Donald Trump goes to war with Iran, if Donald Trump were to claim weapons of mass destruction in Iran as a reason to invade them, literally like a few years ago, you would have not supported him because of that reason. Literally a few years ago, if I would have asked you that question.
See, but that would have just been him randomly invading them and bombing them. Here's the thing.
Wait, what do you mean? That's what he's doing right now.
They're bombing Israel. I mean, I don't.
No, wait. I have a question. Right? Why are they bombing Israel?
Territory?
No, because Israel fucking bombed them, dude. Are you okay? Hello? Israel started it. Why are we specifically fighting on behalf of Israel's offensive wars when we can't even defend Ukraine in terms of saving their fucking country from an insane maniac lunatic like fucking Putin from invading and killing a bunch of people in Ukraine and fucking ethnically cleansing the country? What are you talking about?
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's a double-edged sword, man. Like, it's two different wars where you kind of got to pick and choose your battles.
Donald Trump is worse on foreign policy. He's disastrous. There were people, a part of his administration, his first administration, that called him a laughing fool, a fascist, a threat to democracy, unfit to be president of the United States, and yet you still support him. You had a guy specifically saying that he put himself over the Constitution who was his vice president, because he specifically, literally, called the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Everything this country is based upon in terms of its fundamental values, the rule of law, our democratic values, right? Due process. These are things Donald Trump is undermining. Our Constitution. Donald Trump undermines every single one of those things. Name a single fundamental value of the United States of America that Donald Trump has not undermined.
Wait, Parker, can you say it again? Your mic cut out. I don't know if he heard you.
No, he heard me.
No, I heard him. I mean, are you going off when he said that there was foul play with the 2020 election? Is that what you're going off of?
That's him undermining our 2020 election. Yeah, he thinks that he won the election. He sent false slates of electors to electoral college to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to steal the election.
That tweet, right? The tweet that.
No, I'm not just talking about the termination of the Constitution. I'm also talking specifically about him setting false slates of electors to electoral college to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to try to steal the election, and him continually, even into the next election cycle, thinking that he won the election. He still thinks to this day that he won 2020. Okay, so name one fundamental value of America that Donald Trump has not undermined. I can't hear you when you swipe out of the app, just letting you know. In the meantime, everyone, make sure to like the stream if you're on YouTube. Let's try to get it up to as many likes as we can for the 3,000 people on YouTube. Make sure to like the stream. Let's try to get to 1.5 thousand likes if you're on TikTok for the 7.7 thousand people in the stream. Make sure to tap that screen. Let's try to get to 1 million likes, everybody. As well as if you want to support me, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. And a free way to support me is by following me if you have not already here on TikTok and subscribing here on YouTube. It's absolutely free to do so.
So, I mean, you're saying with the election, that's like, it's not that many. What are all the values that you're saying that he's undermined besides the election by trying to?
And I will describe them. I think I already did. I will describe them again after you tell me one fundamental value that Donald Trump has not undermined. Like fundamental value of America.
I mean, border policies. He's pretty strong on border policies.
I think that America was not founded on very strong border policies. A foundational element of America is not quote unquote strong border policy. For example, Ellis Island, people were able to get into the country within 3 to 7 hours. So I'm talking about something foundational to America. Like what I said in terms of the Constitution, the rule of law, our democratic process, right? Our due process. You know, those things are fundamental to what America is. Immigration, you know, being a melting pot for the world, fundamental to what America is. Donald Trump has undermined every single one of those. So give me a single fundamental aspect of America in terms of what we are based upon, in terms of our country, that Donald Trump has not undermined.
I mean, freedom of speech.
Really? So I'll give you, you read that from the chat. And I knew that you were going to say that. And the reason why I've responded to this is very clear. He called not only for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even the Constitution, which would include the First Amendment, but he also said that he wants to put people in prison for a year for burning the American flag. He wants to revoke people's visas for disagreeing with certain foreign policy positions. Right? So
And
that's anti-free speech. 100% anti-free speech.
You have like something like that.
Yeah.
To back that? Or
Yeah. For example, Mahmoud Khalil was literally detained for multiple months, right? Undermining his right to free speech just because he protested.
What does that have to do with Trump directly? That sounds like indirect freedom of speech.
That's due process rights specifically being undermined for, I think it was over 3 months, right? For someone that wouldn't, that's violating their First Amendment rights. Absolutely violating their First Amendment rights just for protesting. That is absolutely cruel and unusual punishment. And that's at the behest of Donald Trump's administration's policy. Can you imagine if the same thing happened under? Can you imagine if the same thing happened under Trump's administration? I mean, under the Biden-Harris administration?
I can't say for sure, but I'm saying like, where is it that you can back that was something that Trump changed, where he can just undermine someone's First Amendment like that? Because at the end of the day, it really didn't have anything to do with him.
It's him specifically advocating to violate people's due process rights. So it's specifically him saying that he thinks people shouldn't be able to have due process rights, right? That specifically undermines, right, you know, people in the country who are here legally, like Mahmoud Khalil was, legally in the country, right? Their due process rights. Because if you don't have due process for undocumented immigrants, then how do you even determine that they're undocumented, right? That would be due process.
Okay, but what I'm saying, like, legally they couldn't take away his free speech. So obviously that was something that shouldn't have happened. So how does that have anything to do with Trump?
Hold up. I just want to
we have some crazy breaking news.
give an update to
I'd
everyone.
argue that Donald Trump should be immediately impeached for this. According to NBC News, we are just now learning that before Donald Trump wagered war on Iran less than 24 hours ago, Iran told the Trump administration that if they did attack their country, they would activate a network of sleeper cells in America to attack America. So Donald Trump knew this and still decided to drop the bombs and start the war. Donald Trump knowingly put the safety of Americans at risk, the people of the country that he is supposed to be running. And this is on top of the harm that we are already expecting Americans to suffer if Iran goes through their decision to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which would cause global inflation, making you pay more for everything, especially gasoline. I'd like to be clear, this isn't just not putting America first, this is putting America last. This isn't just not being a good president, this is being a bad president that is actively hurting the people that he's supposed to be representing. So please get a hold of your representatives and call for Trump's impeachment. We need to see accountability for the string of terrible decisions that haven't just been made in the last 24 hours, but within the last 150 days. Okay.
That's disastrous.
That's from NBC. Is that what he said in the beginning? That was from NBC.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good look. I'll be honest. I mean, him knowing that preemptively is something I can't like get behind. That's really unfortunate. But before any of this, like before the everything going on with Iran, I think Trump has done a pretty good job in the first 4 to 5 months that he's been in presidency. I will say that there's a lot of things that he's done. I can't like off the top of my head like, tell you all. Of them,
You couldn't tell me a single thing. Go ahead. You said he's done some great things. What are they?
You know, you got me there in Parker. I have to do my research, but there's a lot of shit. There's
like what? Name one.
Like,
Name it. Just name one. Like seriously, he's done a lot of stuff. Name a single one.
I mean, you know it too. You're just trying to get me on the fact that I can't remember.
Of course, I do know things, but if you're going to say that there are lots of things that he's done, you should be able to name one.
No, you're right. You're right. Just give me a second. I got to think.
Wait, sorry. Say that one more
time. No, I'm saying I just got to think. I mean, like all the stuff he's already done with the border and cracking down on, like the numbers have significantly went down since.
Okay, so what did he do with the border that you like?
There's less immigrants coming in. There's more security. He actually went to the border.
I have a question. What's good with decreasing immigration?
More jobs for American people that should actually get them instead of people just coming in. Are
immigrants not Americans?
They are once they legally come in.
Yeah, so then we should.
So you think immigrants should just be able to come in America and get jobs from people that like that's an American that could have got that position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That could feed their American family to help their American children to flourish their American family. But no, we're going to give that job to an immigrant because they came in illegally.
The idea that you have that immigrants are stealing jobs is completely and totally wrong. Actually, immigrants not only do they add a supply. Let me please explain.
They're coming in illegally, and then they're finding ways to get their green card and find a way to get a job.
Yeah, I would love to explain this whole thing for you. Would you like to let me explain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So immigrants do not steal jobs from Americans. Not only do they provide a supply of productive services in terms of upholding jobs, but they also increase demand for goods and services, then incentivizing businesses to create more jobs to be able to service that greater level of demand. So they also create more jobs in terms of the demand that they have for goods and services. So everyone within the economy creates supply and creates demand. It's no different from any other citizen in the country. So actually it makes the pie bigger for everyone to enjoy, right? If it is the case that there are more immigrants in the country. Also, in the long run, will allow for us to be able to maintain benefits for things like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, things like that. That specifically, right, we might have to decrease in terms of benefits to the degree that we currently have them at, because it is the case that we have a portion of the population that is younger, that is working, providing for people who are older, because our fertility rates have been below replacement rates for consistently since the 1970s.
I mean, that's very true. There's a lot of I think I seen something about Trump wanting to pass a bill for like immigrants that are working on farms because they're really beneficial to our farmers and the crops that they make, and I mean everything that comes from farmers. They work hard from what I know, and they're really good workers. I mean, Americans are known to be lazy, so
here's my question. If someone is in the country undocumented and they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, what is the reason to deport them?
No, there isn't. I don't agree with someone just being I don't agree with them coming in, but like if they're already here, they need to find a way to do it legally,
So we should give them a pathway to citizenship, because not only will it help them in terms of their exploitation, but it will also benefit the overall labor market.
Yes, but at the same time, you can't really kind of mass deportations. You can't find each person and be like, "Oh, are you not? Are you not?" There's no time for that. It's immigration. It's deportation. It's
actually wrong. In order to deport, you have to be able to engage in the process of due process according to the Constitution. Biden did it. He was able to do due process. I disagree with the level of deportations that he did. I actually do. because I don't think that anyone in the country who hasn't committed a violent crime or bad crime should be deported. Now, they definitely prioritize deporting people who have committed violent crimes or bad crimes, but it is the case they still deported people that didn't meet that set of criteria, which I think is wrong. And what we were particularly protesting as of recently with Donald Trump was the fact that he did not follow through with due process, which is a constitutionally protected right. And if he comes after undocumented immigrants' right to due process, he can come against your right to due process. And that's why we've seen citizens in this country, we've seen legal residents in this country, people who are legally in the country, right, being illegally detained, right, being deported, right, without due process.
Yeah, that's probably not a good thing, you know. But I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of it might. I don't know what it is. Could be laziness from the government. Whatever. I don't know. Them just wanting to deport them. I'm not sure. Because sometimes.
Then why did that not happen in prior years? Why did that not happen in prior years under the other administrations?
Because it just wasn't happening at all. I mean, it was barely like there's no really deportations. Like the amount of deportations has gone significantly up, obviously because of Trump. There just wasn't that
actually.
many
That's just not true. You know, actually, Biden and Obama had more deportations than Trump has.
Fine means something that's a fact. I don't think
customs and border.
I don't find that to be factual.
Customs and border protection. This is actually a point that Trump supporters would bring up to me and be like, "What are you guys actually protesting? Right? Trump has actually deported less people." It's the process of deportation that we were specifically protesting. And again, I also do disagree with the deportations that, you know, the Biden administration and the Obama administration did. Like I said prior.
I mean, I feel anyone who's committed a crime or is someone that may cause harm to anyone in America or to America should probably be deported. Like anyone in a cartel, just anyone violent criminal records, anyone with the same thing trying to seek asylum, just anything of that nature. Like they should probably be deported. But you got the people that haven't done anything wrong, and I think they're just wrong place, wrong time. Like they want to come somewhere free, but that's just not what.
So if they're in the country undocumented and they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, do you think they should be deported?
Not if it's tough, bro, because they can legally become an American citizen. I feel like they shouldn't have to be deported, but that's not my decision.
Wait, okay, but like here's my point. It is because we're talking about democratic process. And who you vote for will then be represented within the context of the law. And it sounds like the policy that you support is definitely not what the Republicans support. It sounds like a democratic policy. You actually sound to the left of the Democratic Party on this issue. I'm serious. You are to the left of the Democratic Party on this issue.
That could be true. It's really a tough. It's not too tough of a situation, but
okay.
I don't know. I feel like they just shouldn't have been like things. Obviously, weren't done for them to be here in the first place. Obviously, like they should have came in the right way in the first place, and then we wouldn't be in this situation. But
okay,
that's just it.
Okay. Again, you say that about undocumented immigrants, right? But one, you didn't say that about Donald Trump when it comes to literally him. Specifically like doing that with Iran in terms of the nuclear peace agreement, but in terms of undocumented immigrants, you will apply that. Also, like I don't think you really care about enforcing the law in all scenarios, right? We're currently on an illegal app right now, like literally that they're just not enforcing. Yeah, I'm serious.
No,
like we're currently on an illegal app. Yeah,
you're right. There's just a temporary,
Yeah, so as long as someone's not doing something wrong, right, we're probably saying that they shouldn't be restricted, right? You know, like we're not doing anything wrong by, being on TikTok and debating. We don't think TikTok should be banned. So obviously we don't see it to be wrong to, violate that law.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel no one like that's. I mean, yeah, you're undocumented and you're not really a security risk. You're just.
Exactly. Like if someone hasn't committed a violent crime or bad crime, they're not a security risk. What's the reason of us having an immigration process? To keep the country safe. And simply deporting people who haven't committed violent crimes or bad crimes is not keeping the country safer. If anything, it's keeping the country less safe because it's making it harder for law enforcement to identify anyone coming to the country who has committed violent crimes and bad crimes. Because say proportionally, if there are more people coming to the country through an undocumented mechanism that have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes because they're deciding to go through the legal pathways because it's significantly quicker, safer, and faster for them, well then more people who are going through the undocumented mechanisms, right, would be people that wouldn't get through the legal pathways, which would then make it easier for law enforcement to identify anyone that's coming here for nefarious means.
That's true. I mean, that's still a what-if situation, though.
It's not even a what-if. Actually, you know what? Sure. Hypotheticals are incredibly relevant towards the policy that we support. In order to be able to advocate for different policy, you have to talk about hypothetically what would happen given that we implemented that policy in order to be able to actually talk about the effectiveness of the policy. Hypotheticals and what-ifs in a certain sense, right? What if being a hypothetical, I think that's how you were just referring to it, are incredibly important, right, towards the policies we support.
Yeah, because you got to see a potential outcome for, you know.
You have to see what could happen, what could happen the other way. Like for example, someone being like, "Oh, if you wanted to open the borders, we'd have too many people come to the country, or it'd harm our country." Like some people claiming that's them engaging in hypotheticals, right? So like you have to be able to understand hypotheticals. What if Iran makes nukes and uses them in a bad way?
That's what I'm going back on the bombing thing. Now, that other thing from NBC, I'm not too sure about them. Him knowing that they were going to retaliate in the first place before deciding to bomb them.
He knew about people who were in the country already, who were sleeper cells.
I had to go and look up all that stuff to make sure like that's true. Like he actually do that, and then decided to bomb their nuclear facilities anyway.
Would you say you don't support him if that's true?
Yeah. That no. Like no. Hold on. You knew in the first place. You know. If they told you,
I agree. You shouldn't support him based upon that. But I'm just like, bro. Honestly, fuck the rest of this conversation. Go look that up right now. I think that will be the most productive for you. Fuck the rest of this conversation. I think that's going to be the point that convinces you. Because I do genuinely believe this is an insane lunatic position that Donald Trump holds that, I mean, you should be able to see right through. This should be the point where your eyes are opened to him conning you. Seriously. Because this is one of the most fundamental tenets to his campaign. Being anti the Iraq war. Being anti-war when he was originally running. That's what Tulsi Gabbard supported him over. Right? That's what Tulsi Gabbard was saying. Oh, go ahead.
I get that. But I'm saying, like, you can't really do anything. I mean, nothing. I mean, like, if he were to say, like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to try and get into any wars, this, that, and the third, before he gets in the presidency, and then things change, you have to adapt, you know? Like, you can't just, like, things are happening. You can't just, while the world's spinning, you can't just not do anything. You know what I mean?
Obviously, you can't do anything in any conflict, but certain conflicts you can choose to not do things with. Like, I don't think that we should be involved in this.
What better could he? I mean, yeah,
not involve himself.
There's probably better that he could have done. Yes, but would it have been effective? Who knows? Probably not, because Iran would probably still keep bombing Israel, and or not only.
But like, I don't want to be involved in Israel's wars.
I go back on that too. Like,
are we Israel first or are we America first?
Right.
Because to me, that sounds like Trump is Israel first.
Which makes no sense. I don't, I really never understood why we got involved in the first place, but.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming up. I think you should watch back this conversation. That might be able to get you to rethink these things and look into that particular claim about Trump knowing about sleeper cells in the country prior to even bombing. But yeah, appreciate you coming up, man.
Yep. It was a good debate, bro.
Appreciate you. All right, Jake.
Hi.
What are the reasons why you support Trump?
Well, really quickly before we do that, I wanted to say everyone in the chat that called me the C word while waiting like a good boy, it's very disrespectful. But okay, what did you say, Parker?
I don't even know what you're referencing. Oh, they called you C-U-C-K?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to get banned, but it was pretty funny.
Oh.
Yo, keep calling me good boy. Keep calling me good boy, bro. Oh my god. Stop.
Okay,
I'm ready.
Okay, hold on. So why do you support Trump?
I like his policies. I mostly, honestly, it is a not supportive nature for Kamala. I have
Kamala.
more support Trump and his. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. How do you say it?
Kamala, or you could just say Harris.
Kamala,
Yeah, but
Miss Will and Harris. But
yeah. So like, okay, so what specific policies of Trump's do you like?
um, personally, I like his more freedom of speech. I like the fact that he's more pro speech than he is not. I feel like that's a big problem in the Democratic Party where that free speech gets shut down a lot. Like how TikTok literally got banned. That kind of was what'd you say? Shit, never mind, never mind. But I feel like that was kind of like just unruly, and that's one of his like more good policies that I like is freedom of speech.
Okay, he called for that one. That's not a policy, but sure, we can talk about that. So
Love it.
yeah, no, it's fine. So he called for people who have burned the American flag to be put in prison for a year, which the the Supreme Court has already identified as protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah, it is it's actually, I'm pretty sure it's a law that you can't burn the American flag. I don't know why. Um, I'm pretty sure it's a law that if it touches the ground or if it does that, it's already been a law that it gets burned if that happens. So,
Yeah, in order to retire a flag, you have to burn it. So should
yeah,
that be
so what I'm
illegal?
saying is that's already no, that shouldn't be
Okay,
illegal.
but that's what Donald Trump was advocating for. Can you give me one example of Democrats wanting to use the government to legally enforce laws that are anti-free speech?
Wait, repeat the first part of the sentence
Can
again,
you can you
please.
give me an example of Democrats supporting using the law to
Mhm.
restrict speech?
I can't give you a law. I can give you a like example. The TikTok ban, that was a immediate like
That Trump supported
freedom of
originally?
speech.
Okay,
He
everyone's
did
calling you a
support
minor
originally, but
now.
he was
How
the whole
how old?
reason to go back.
Here, hold up. Can I have you like re-say how old you are again?
Yes, I'm 19.
What's your birth year?
2006,
Okay, what month?
March 3rd.
Okay, all right.
I am. Honestly, to be honest with you, I lost my voice 2 nights ago. I was at a party. I just lost my voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was having you restate it for the chat.
No worries. Also, I'm a little bit shaky because also like I've seen a lot of your debates and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to see you because I do view you more as like a celebrity. But I've always wanted to debate you or try to talk to you. So like it's kind of like nervous to talk to you for the first time or whatever. So it's kind of
Don't
stop
be
calling me a good boy in the chat. Holy shit.
okay. Don't be nervous. I'm genuinely just a person. Like I'm serious. Like I'm just a person, right? I grew up in
hmm
Iowa. Just a typical person. I used to debate people on Omegle and have conversations like this. Okay, so
Well, I know, but
just think
after like
think of
especially with
me.
like Charlie Kirk and all.
I
So it's just like
understand.
it's like kind of like weird, you know?
Yeah. I just want to say I understand. I understand the nerves. I get it. I'm just saying you don't need to have the nerves. I'm just a typical person. Don't worry about it. Think of it as like I'm not a typical. All right. Think of me as I'm not Parker. I'm not Parker. I'm actually. My name is Peter. I tell you, my name is Peter. Okay.
hmm
I'm a different guy. I'm telling you, I'm a different guy. Okay. So
Well,
tell Peter here why specifically you support Donald Trump. Go ahead.
Typically, I mean, I honestly think I support Donald Trump for his policies. There's a lot of things I do not like actually support about him. I don't support the abortion law. I don't support a lot of his points, but I do think that it was more necessary to, I don't want to say nuke because it wasn't, but I think it was more important to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran. I think that
Mm.
was, and that's sort of that something you're talking about. Um, I think that was really important, honestly.
Okay. Why so?
Well, I think it was important because Iran is probably one of the most, I'm not going to say the most because I don't know for that to be a fact, but it's probably one of the biggest contributors to terrorist organizations such as Al Qaeda. I mean, they have a very bad history. And I've heard you and Dean say that you guys don't like their government. It's a completely corrupt government. The government
Wait,
is
hold up.
technically terrorists. So,
Yes. Can we can acknowledge, right, that
yes.
Iran specifically has funded terrorism around the world. And we can also acknowledge that other countries around the world that Donald Trump argues to be in allyship with have also done that, like Israel, like Qatar,
Mhm.
right, that have specifically funded terror operations around the world, right, which again, even the United States has funded terror operations around the world as well.
Mhm.
So, like, I don't think that's a justification to then bomb
Well,
Iran and start a war with
it's
them.
not. That's not why they're bombing Iran. That wasn't my point. I didn't get to really finish, but it's okay. I'm not saying that you cut me off or anything. But with the government basically being under the control of terrorists, the terrorists have basically the call. They have the power. They are the ones that could push the nuke button and do nuke America and completely fuck us up. And I know that there are other nations like that that have done that. Israel does not have nuclear weapons capabilities. If you
Yes, they
can
do.
name other
Israel
ones,
does
they
have.
do.
Yes, they do have nukes.
They have nuclear weapon capability.
Yeah. So in terms of Iran, the idea that they would just nuke the United States is ridiculous, and I'll tell you why. There's something called mutually assured destruction. If it is the case that they bomb the United States using nukes, they will get nuked, and that will destroy everything they care about. So the idea is that if people in the Iranian government want power, then they absolutely would not nuke because it would destroy all of their power. Does it make sense? So that's why we've never nuked someone who has had nuclear weapons, and no country's ever nuked another country with nuclear weapons yet. And hopefully it stays that way.
It's a complete fear tactic.
Yeah, but like that's what mutually assured destruction is.
Yeah.
And that's why there hasn't been nuclear weapons dropped on countries that have nuclear weapons before.
Got you. Sorry, I was reading chat too. I understand what you say when you say that you not think that, because there are other countries out there that have nuclear capacity and that can nuke us, and I get it's like a trust thing, and it's like whatever you said, like if they push this button, I'm gonna push my button, and that's gonna mutually destroy them. I just don't understand how that kind of relates to Iran, because Iran did not have nuclear missile capacity.
How what relates to Iran? Just clarify.
You said that we have never nuked a country, and that I was coming off me saying, sorry, that Iran needed to be nuked because they were building a nuclear weapon, and you said that we've never nuked a country before like that because it would be mutually reassured.
Because there's something called mutually assured destruction. Yes.
Yes. So we haven't nuked Iran because in that sense, because Iran's not a
No, I'm not saying we never
country.
have nuked Iran.
Yeah, that's why I said that's what I'm saying. You said we don't send missiles or any like destruction power over there because it escalates to war and then nuclear missiles become involved.
If they have nuclear weapons.
Yes.
So the reason why they wouldn't drop nuclear weapons on us is because nuclear weapons would be dropped on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to think because honestly, I just don't really. I mean, I'm always
hold on 1 second here. Bo, how old are you?
32.
Do you support Trump?
No, but I was just saying you're wrong about.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Honestly, I gotta stop looking at my phone because I'm trying to read chat and it's like disrupting my mind. But what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, I'm just nervous, bro. I'm nervous. I said I'm just nervous. What were we talking about? Like in that you asked me a question.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Iran.
Okay, yeah, Iran. So I don't think that necessarily they posed a threat to us in the moment. So I think maybe the 2 weeks that he would have gone to actual Congress, and I know that's leading to his impeachment now, but these people are signing for his impeachment. But I think that it could have waited for those 2 weeks, but I do think Iran needed to be bombed. It's been
Iran. Why?
Because we are also in
Actually, let's ask this question. Why are we here in the first place? Why do we need to bomb them under your position in the first place?
They are attacking Israel and we are funding Israel. And that's one of our...
Wait. Why are they attacking Israel?
They're attacking Israel because they are in what's called decades, probably, I think it's...
No.
Long debate, and they're upset, and they're attacking each other.
They're attacking Israel because Israel just, quote unquote, preemptively attacked them, which is essentially just they decided to start war. So why do you? Here's my question: do you support the United States helping Ukraine fight against Russia?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Then how do you feel about Donald Trump undermining that funding to Ukraine?
Well, that's like I said, I don't support a lot of his policies. I do support some of them, though.
It's really interesting that now a bunch of Trump supporters support the funding for Ukraine. If I would have asked the same question about supporting the funding for Ukraine literally like a month ago, I promise you, practically no MAGA would support funding Ukraine.
Well, that's because it's not about that. It's about the fact that people don't like Russia because Russia becomes an immediate threat to us, and America's not going to attack Russia without, how do I say it? They're not going to just attack Russia directly, but they don't want Russia to completely take over Ukraine. Because take over Ukraine, they don't have any power in Ukraine. They don't have any nearby
And do you agree that
military bases in Ukraine.
if we don't
Sorry, in Ukraine.
if you agree that we don't fund Ukraine, that they are significantly more likely to not be a country anymore?
Yes.
So then you think that Donald Trump gives more power to Putin?
No.
You don't think it gives more power to Putin for it to be more likely that he's going to own Ukraine?
No, because by us funding Ukraine, it either makes Putin go up in war against us, or it's going to make
No, that's
him
not what was
stop his
happening.
war.
That was not what
I'm
was
saying
happening.
that was what that's what I thought. What did you say?
Yeah, they would have got to a point where they can't continue it anymore, and we would have defended Ukraine. But now
Exactly. So if they did that way, they stopped, didn't they? So that's what I'm saying. They stopped doing that. They stopped doing the
No.
war with Ukraine.
No, they haven't. They kept going. They're still doing it right now. They're actually going harder than they were before.
It's completely stopped.
No, it hasn't. That's just not true. Nova, thank you for the $15. I haven't seen anything on that. Plausible, thank you for the 10 Canadian. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm not as educated as you are because you know a lot more about me in these
That's crazy,
situations. I'm
Nova.
just going based off my beliefs.
And then
But
or plausible, that's crazy. And then Janet, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you. As well as I need to catch up with some Venmos. Morgan, thank you so much for the $15 for Peter Parker. Connor, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe I will. Susie, thank you for the $2. Megan, thank you for the $1. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I'll have to check. Sid, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Sarah with the $10. And Kelly with the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Kelly. Caitlin with the $10. Thank you so much. Alrighty, I'm caught up. Go ahead. You were saying?
okay, sorry. I guess maybe I should
And
ask
then
you
Mara,
then
thank you for
because
the
I feel like
galaxy.
you've
Thank
asked me
you.
a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Why do you support Kamala and why do you not like
Kamala.
Trump? What policies of his do you Kamala? Sorry, what policies do you not support?
Of Donald Trump's?
Yes.
Yes. So we'll give you a few examples. His big, beautiful bill is horrible, right? It's going to add multi-trillions of dollars to the debt alongside specifically.
You're referring to the dome, right?
What's up?
You're referring to the Iron Dome that he's trying to make?
No, that would be the Golden Dome. I'm not referring
Whatever.
to that.
The same. Sorry.
I'm referring to the big,
knockoff,
beautiful
whatever it is.
bill adding the big, beautiful bill specifically is a bill that will massively cut taxes for millionaires and billionaires while increasing taxes for people in the low and middle class. At the bottom, 80% of the country will see net increase on their tax burden, right? And less benefits. Like, for example, over $800 billion in cut funding for Medicaid and over $300 billion, right, specifically in cut food stamps funding.
Okay.
Again, Mara, thank you
listening.
so much. I really appreciate it, Mara.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was just double checking with you. That's what you meant. But if that's not what you mean, then no. You can keep going.
Keep going with what? What part?
You said I asked you about what policies of Trump do you not like.
Yeah. Okay. So
And is that it or?
yeah, his big beautiful bill to add trillions of dollars to the debt. I was waiting for you to respond to that. It seems like you don't because you were asking like clarifying questions. Big beautiful bill add trillions of dollars to debt, increases taxes for the bottom 8% of the country, cuts food stamps and Medicaid, and it is the case that massively cuts taxes for millionaires and billionaires. So that's just not good policy. That's horrible policy that sells out the middle class of this country. We can also point towards his policies like in general. He didn't have a housing affordability policy. He didn't have a health care plan. Didn't have a child care plan. Didn't have a plan to lower prices. Right? He didn't have a plan for practically anything in terms of the economy. His big beautiful bill was practically his only economic policy outside of the context of tariffs, which have been incredibly disastrous to our economy and have led to a 0.3% decline in real GDP after several quarters of multiple percentage points real GDP growth, whereas we didn't see that same trend in practically any country around the world, right, that is developed. Nova, thank you for the $15. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. And again, I can acknowledge those policies. I can acknowledge those policies that you would not like.
Yeah,
None of them. What'd you say? Oh, sorry. I was saying I can acknowledge those policies. I can see, I'm acknowledging those are true. Why do you like Kamala then? I guess is what I'm trying to ask you. Why do you like Kamala?
Kamala.
What of her
So
policies do you like? Kamala,
yes,
sorry,
yeah.
my
So
bad. I'll just call her Harris. I don't
yeah,
wanna.
$6,000 child tax
Kamala.
credit for the first year of a child's life, 3,600 through them being 5 years old, 3,000 through them being 18. When implemented in 2021 through the American Rescue Plan, it reduced childhood poverty by 45%. Alongside the fact that she was advocating for a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes, a $2,000 cap on pharmaceuticals out of pocket, right, on a year basis, a $35 cap on insulin for everyone, not just for people who are on Medicare on a monthly basis. Those are specific policies I think that she was better on.
Okay. What about the?
When you swipe out of the app, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I forgot what the policy was called. If you want to invite somebody else on here, you can get them on. But I completely forgot what it was called. Can I like look it up real quick?
Just like tell me the contents of it, and I'll just tell you.
She had a policy. It was something about. I think it was something about like how LGBTQ. It was like gender switches were allowed under 18.
Okay, go ahead and find a source that's not real. Son, thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you so much. Go find that one. I think he's trying to refer to surgeries, and that's just obviously not true. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Trump?
I do.
What's your birth year?
2007.
And did you vote for Donald Trump?
I couldn't vote then.
But you would if you could go back in time and vote?
Yeah.
Okay, so why so? Why do you support him?
His policies on abortion. Before we get into that, though, can I ask you a personal question?
No.
Really, it's about one of your boys.
Why do you want to ask me a personal question?
It's about Dean Withers saying the N-word, F-slur, R-slur, giving the typical influencer response to it, apologizing, saying he's changed and being a right-wing influencer and shit, and then making a bunch of money from scamming like 250 people. I believe he made $60,000 from that.
You just lied. He didn't scam $60,000 from anyone. That was a total lie. In terms of
Really?
in terms of him saying slurs when he was younger, absolutely. He's acknowledged this. He's owned the fact that he's done it, and he's changed as a person overall since those times. He's acknowledged, apologized, and become a better person. And now he's actively anti those behaviors and advocates on his platform to be against those types of behaviors and to not do those things. I think that you can change as a person, right? That's why I do these lives in the very first place, right? I'm literally trying to change people, as I used to be a Trump supporter myself. Right? I've changed as a person. I've gone through incredible levels of growth. And same thing with Dean, right? And I think that you can go through that growth. And a lot of people in the chat can go through that growth as well. That's everyone's growing on a daily basis, right? I think that's important to acknowledge. Now, I think Dean has done that work, genuinely. I think that Dean continues to do that work on a daily basis today. So like that's the way I would respond to that.
What about higher inflation levels?
Hold up 1 second, Jake. I want to let him respond real quick. What's up?
You're denying that the E-Rich lifestyle course he made was like
yes, that's
real?
that's a real thing, but he didn't scam $60,000 from people.
He scammed 250 people out of $250.
No, he didn't.
Oh yeah,
250 people did not buy that. Ashley, think of the $2.
They're literally.
And by the way, this is a marketing tactic from he was like 15 or 16, something like that. Right, where he was like obsessed with Andrew Tate at the time, and he was taking Andrew Tate's marketing tactic.
He's still a grifter, dude.
Ashley, think of the $2. So you could say that Dean in the past was using Andrew Tate's marketing tactics, which you would consider grifting. But does that mean that he's grifting now when he's doing debate content?
Yeah, he does.
What does grifting
debates, mean, bro?
What does grifting mean?
Scams.
Grifting means that like you're dishonestly portraying a particular view in order to make money off of something that you don't.
You seriously believe
Dean
that?
Does
I guess
those
you're
views.
friends with him, so you're
I am good friends with him, and I genuinely know that when I engage with him offline, that he has the particular views he has. You know, since he started doing streams, he didn't have those views. He used to be a libertarian, right, on the streams, like generally libertarian. right? And I've had plenty of economics related conversations with him, and I've led to a lot of change, not 100% me, obviously a bunch of other people as well, but I've led to a lot of change in his economic views that have shifted him more left, and how he's very similar in terms of my economic beliefs. So like, I've seen the change myself, right? I'm confused. Is that him grifting when he was genuinely changing his views because he heard different economic arguments?
Saying the fact that he goes from hardcore right wing to hardcore left wing and then makes a shit ton of money from it. Yeah, I think that's great.
By the way, that didn't happen. He didn't go hardcore right wing to hardcore left wing. That's a ridiculous idea. One, he's not hardcore left wing. He's a social democrat. If anything, on a global stage, social democracy is like a moderate ideology. Like genuinely, like we're moderates on a global stage. We're left wing here in America, sure, but we're moderates on a world stage, right? If you genuinely look at it from that basis, right? Secondly, in terms of this, when he first started doing debates on TikTok, he was a libertarian.
Yeah, I'm not arguing semantics with you. You get what I mean when I say that.
What do you mean you're not arguing semantics? That's the whole thing you're doing right now. Instead of debating me about the topic, you decide to ask me about you thinking Dean stole fucking $60,000, which is a totally made up lie.
How is that a lie, dude? 250 people bought that ebook.
No, that's made up. 250 people did not buy that. You just made that up.
It is.
Fanatic, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Like he just literally made that up.
Let me find the screenshot now.
Go ahead. I'd love to see. I just want to let you know, like in terms of this, you still have yet to define grifting in a way that would be applicable. You can't say that Dean is grifting right now. He's obviously not dishonest with his views. Right? I know him as a person. He's one of my good friends. He's one of my best friends, actually. Right? And it is the case that he's clearly not dishonest in his views. Right? I can very clearly identify that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well then I could say that you're dishonest in your views in the same way that you call him dishonest in his views. Fanatic, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. And then Coral, thank you for the $50. Thank you so much for advocating for growth. Thank you so much. And then Ashley, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. You were saying?
And how is that? How am I a grifter?
I didn't even call you a grifter.
You just said in the same way that Dean, like I'm calling Dean.
I know. I said no. In the same way that you can call the same way that you can call Dean dishonest about his views, I can call you dishonest about your views. So again, you have to
in which ways?
In your arguments, because you're providing nothing to say that Dean is dishonest. I can provide you nothing to say you're dishonest, and that's a good enough standard for you. So you still don't know what a grifter is?
I already told you, bro.
I mean, do you want to
scamming people?
What's up?
Out of money, saying that he's a left wing or whatever. He argues gotcha debates. That's all he does.
What do you mean by he argues? What do you mean by gotcha debates? What do you mean?
He debates people in a way where you can just have a gotcha moment.
That's what debates are. Wait. Gotcha. Wait, by gotcha, do you mean he tries to win debates? Is that all you mean?
He doesn't actually try to make.
So all you're trying. Wait, that's just wrong. Wrong. I'm on his lives all the time. He absolutely tries to change people's views. The only reason he's on the live right now is because he's trying to change your mind.
Josiah, what's going on, man? How we doing?
It's good.
Well, I saw my name popping up a lot in my Discord, and then I was like, "Well, what's going on?" Then I check out Parker's live. What's going on, man? Lay it on me.
Talking about how you scammed a bunch of people with the E-Rich lifestyle.
Yeah, he said that you scammed people for $60,000, Dean. He said you sold 250 copies of the ebook.
Jesus, Josiah, when did you decide to make up that belligerently false information?
Then how much money was it if it wasn't that much?
Answer my question first. I think I would require an answer to my question.
Read it online.
Where did you read it online?
From a screenshot of the ebook. So there was 250 members.
Oh, see, you're confused. So what you're confused about is how many members there were in the Telegram channel. And you're equating that to me, quote unquote, scamming that many people.
So how much did you make from it?
So first and foremost, I'm going to finish speaking without your interruption. I've spoken about
this. Just answer the question. How much you make?
I'm going to speak without your interruption. Like honestly, man, if you spend a lot of time talking about me, even when I'm not there, maybe like one thing you can let me do is talk to you. So I mean, I've talked about this a lot, and I guess I'll kind of readdress it super quickly to you. So, like what you're referring to, I don't classify it as a scam. However, I obviously do think it was pretty cringe. So, the reason why I don't classify it as a scam is because I was selling a legitimate product, which was comprehensive, full and back end development.
That was completely different from how you marketed it.
Go ahead and allow me to finish. Thank you so much. Which was comprehensive front and back end development for e-commerce websites. And I mean, I went on to, sell that same service for thousands and thousands of dollars to like legitimate brick and mortar stores through a creative direction company. I mean, before I started doing what I'm doing on TikTok now, I had like a reliable job at a brick and mortar dog treat and dog food store that I worked with to completely renew all of their web-based revenue funnels. So, I mean, it was a legitimate product, but obviously, like, call the marketing cringe, because it is. Honestly, when I watch those videos, I kind of laugh my ass off. But I don't think that's, like, A, representative of, like, who I am today, B, wasn't a scam, and C, I think it's okay to laugh at how funny those videos are.
I'm not talking about the videos. I'm talking about how it was marketed as like cryptocurrency and shit when it was not related to that in any way.
So I think that the marketing was like more so the idea of, like, here's how you can make a bunch of money on the internet. And it was like inevitably going to be like scaled out to a bit more than that. But the ultimate service that was offered and taken up on by like two people, I think, was e-commerce, as I already pointed out.
And can you answer my question earlier now of how much money you made from that?
Do math.
Like I said, I think like I told you, it was like 2 or 3 people that bought it. And I don't even remember if I ended up selling it for like the marketed price. I probably did below.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, like
is that 25? That's, dude, he thought $60,000, dude. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, and I guess like the follow-up question for you would be, what the fuck is the relevance as it relates to Parker, not Dean? Okay, if you bring this up on my live, okay, like people are mad, I get it. On Parker's stream when he's asking you why you support Trump.
Because he's your boy, bro. I wanted to ask him about it.
Bro, okay, just be honest. Are you butthurt because you didn't get in early?
What?
Are you butthurt because you didn't get in early? You missed out on the E-rich lifestyle. Now you're pissed.
Oh, yeah, you knew. How did you know that, bro?
Dude, he's so mad. He's so mad. He didn't get the E-rich lifestyle, bro. He didn't get that. He's so mad.
Ego is the problem.
Teach me your ways, Dean, bro. If I make a new account, you think, and I start doing the same thing as you think I'll be as rich as you?
Bro, come on, man. You don't got
Actually,
the
I think
knowledge
with
on front and
$2,
back
thank you.
end web development. Like
What if I like look into it though?
Bro, look into it, but don't be cringe, okay? Like a teenager, all right? Like work on making like an actual like serviceable company to offer either building or building out online revenue funnels for
I'm talking about doing like
Wait, by the way, how do you feel about Trump University? What are your thoughts on Trump University?
Nah, I don't like Trump, bro. I just said that so you wouldn't kick me right away.
Okay. Well, okay. So then, why do you want to come up on a live that's specifically debating Trump, and the only thing you want to talk about is the fact that you think that Dean is a grifter?
Yeah, well, like, I can't even believe that this plays into like a larger scale picture.
Dean, are you staying on the live though?
No, I gotta drop here soon. But like Hosea, think about it this way.
Hosea, that's crazy.
All of the, how do I pronounce your name?
Josiah.
So Josiah, think about it this way. I give really well, logically constructed argumentation for liberalism, progressivism, and things that I believe in that are well-reasoned and are based upon very reliable foundational beliefs. Now,
I know that. I mean, like,
answer me this.
You give facts and shit. I believe that.
Answer me this. One moment. Here's my question. Okay, a grifter would imply some false sense of a representation of me, my ideas, my beliefs, etc., in order to make money online. So this would imply that I do not believe the arguments that I give on my lives and in my videos. Why the fuck do you think that I just simply don't believe the facts of reality that I share? or the incredibly well-constructed arguments in which simply cannot be beat by like 99.99999% of people? Are you just saying that I'm like willfully evil and I choose to not believe in what is true of the world around us for no other reason but to be evil?
Shit. I don't know. You can make a lot more money doing what you're doing right now. So I feel like it's more of a money thing compared to genuinely believing those things. And also the fact that you were saying slurs and shit when you were younger. I don't feel like someone can just change that much.
You understand, because I was a terrible little teenager that made very bad decisions and engaged in bigotry because of like the racist societalization in which I grew up in, is the reason I do what I do today. Like, have you ever thought about maybe, right, the reason I am who I am today and not the same person I was 4 or 5 years ago is because of access to education, in which helped me either deconstruct the racist societalization in which I underwent, or to gain a better understanding of why I should act in accordance with particular norms while not acting in accordance with others, and that the reason I do what I do today is to express those same ideas, that same education, and teach individuals how to use the same tools that I did in order to become a better person. Like, honestly, I think that a rational mind could very easily understand that I have even more motivation to be good faith in what I do online, like, given my past, and that's just the reality. And I guess, like, you know, if you accept that, my next question for you would be, you know, like, given that I inevitably became educated on these things, became a better person, and recognized that the same might be true for others given the opportunity of being educated, do you think I made a proper decision by beginning to go live on this platform and others to spread that education?
And the way you do it, though, you do gotcha debates, bro, like Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't understand how you genuinely think it's going to like change people's views.
Wait, I'm sorry. I actually want to respond to this because I think this is the most insane take ever. If you don't think saying something on the internet is going to change people's views, why did you just say that? Why'd you come up on the live and say that?
Say what exactly?
You just said it. Why'd you just say that it doesn't change people's minds? Why are you even making that argument in the first place? Do you think that arguments convince people of things?
Because when he talks to people,
are you thinking that you're going to convince people on the internet? Are you thinking you're going to change people's minds by making that video? Because the same argument that you just made, that's saying that me engaging in conversations and debates right here, saying that this isn't productive or change people's minds, is the same thing that can be applicable to the content they just made and saying that it wouldn't change anyone's mind. So why are they making the content? What the hell are they doing on the platform? Obviously, they believe it is the case that they can change people's minds by making content, like specifically like that, right, to change people's minds. And that's why they're making the video in the very first place or making the argument in the very first place. It's a self-defeating position.
And money has absolutely no place in that or what?
Wait. Everyone cares about money. You understand saying money is the only influence is ridiculous, though, because clearly we have concerns that we genuinely care about ourselves. And that's what we were doing on here before we made any fucking money. I did this for years without making shit. Nothing. I literally would do lives for hours upon hours upon hours and make fucking 20 cents, dude. I did not make any money on this. I did this alongside doing school, and it ended up out of fucking nowhere blowing up and becoming my job. By no fucking means did I actually expect this to be my job, let alone to be in the fucking position I am right now, to be in front of over fucking 11,000 people on TikTok and YouTube right now. That is unbelievable to me. I don't think you understand. I can't even fathom in my head fucking 11,000 people. I don't even understand that. I genuinely don't.
Right. And then if it's about, you know, the whole you're not changing anybody's mind, if I give you access to my DMs on all my social media accounts for 30 minutes, your mind would change. I probably get anywhere from 30 to 100 DMs a day. It's a lot, right? Expressing that I've either changed an individual's mind or the minds of their family members. And something you can do, because obviously I'm not going to give you access to my accounts, is to go look at my posts. Like, for instance, I did a 5.5 minute explainer video on why mass deportation is a bad thing. I think some of like the biggest comments are people saying that I'm Republican. We like totally changed my mind on this. I'm liberal, but I've had more conservative views as it relates to deportation. And after watching this video, my mind has totally changed, right? So, I mean, I ultimately think that this is just some type of cope to further villainize individuals like Ian Parker, right? Just because we want to see some greater success and progressivism on the global stage. And oh wait, if Parker's chill and Parker's good faith and Parker's genuinely ideologically motivated by what is good for the world, well then why would Parker be friends with a grifter?
Genuinely.
Money.
There's the money again.
Oh well,
wait.
if you're saying it's money, then Parker's not chill. Parker's corrupted.
Well, also, I just want to let you know, Dean and
Parker
I.
seems
Wait,
more
I just want to
genuine.
let you know, when Dean and I became friends, right? Dean didn't have an incredibly massive platform. What fucking money are you talking about? Genuinely, what fucking money are you talking about? What the hell are you saying? Dean didn't have a massive platform when I met him.
You guys in every live talk about, oh, thank you, Jasmine, for the $50 donation.
Because I make money on the live stream. I'm sorry. Are you saying that we shouldn't make any money? Or we should be thankful for people sending us money?
Wait. Then also, I also want to add on here, most big streamers that have a high concurrent viewership, they don't thank their individual donors. And the only reason why I do this, and I bet it's the same for Parker, is because that's something that we've always done, regardless of the amount of viewers that we've had. And we've always wanted to stay true to the idea of trying to express generosity and gratefulness for individuals in which have put us in the positions that we are today, and to those that choose to continue to support us in the positions that we are today. If anything, I think that would be a marker, right, that wouldn't be true of somebody that is truly grifting.
I agree with you on some points, yeah.
I do think a lot of these points, and I don't want to, I don't even like saying it like this. I do think a lot of these points come from jealousy, though. I genuinely, when it comes to this, is that there's some aspects of jealousy of people specifically making money in things that they genuinely like, right? Or are good at, or they think are positive for the world. And I think that because people see that we specifically are like that, a lot of people through the context of jealousy will try to attack us after that because of that. Genuinely think about it this way. How many fucking people on the internet are making gobs of money? How many business owners are making gobs of money, right? Outside of this, doing things they don't actually believe in. Why would you specifically attack people who end up making money through people consensually donating to them, right? Doing something they genuinely believe in, when there's so many aspects of our society that include individuals that are doing things they don't believe in to make money. Does that make sense?
I don't know, man. I started a conversation about Dean's past, not really.
Dude, it's one of the least problematic ways to make money ever.
Yeah, I think about that often. Actually, just that this is one of the more ethical ways to generate a living. You know what I mean?
Where's the greeting?
Streaming, yeah, it's a good way to make money. But I'm talking about the courses and shit that you're selling. That's what I originally.
I actually want to clarify this. Generally, streaming, in general, is not some really lucrative thing to do, right? It takes a really long time to build up social medias alongside doing everything else you're doing. And most people don't keep social medias around for very long, like many other businesses that exist. So the idea that it's extremely, extremely lucrative, right, that we were expecting to make a bunch of money going to this is ridiculous. When I first started doing these debates, literally, there was not a community where people made money on TikTok off of this. I didn't have YouTube. There was nothing. There was no way to make money on this. I'm serious. There was no way of making money. So I genuinely, I don't understand that there's this type of assumption. And then also, given that that now I am genuine and I'm engaging in based upon my genuine views and I wasn't doing this just for money, well then wouldn't I be able to also identify that isn't Dean the same way? Someone that's been around Dean for a very long time, that saw Dean prior to even being in the position that he is right now, that knew him before that?
I guess.
Okay. Well, so instead of focusing on us being quote unquote grifters or being dishonest or something like that, how about you focus on the fact that the people that we're debating have insanely crazy fucking positions that are incredibly detrimental to the society that we live in right now?
Oh yeah.
And instead of distracting, and instead of coming up on the live to distract away from that by calling Dean a grifter or saying that we're dishonest because we're making money on the live stream, how about you let us engage in conversations with other people who are MAGA, right? Specifically so that we can debate them, right? And we can change their minds along with the minds of people in the chat. Now, we won't be able to change every single mind of every single person that comes up on the live. Most people, we probably won't be able to change their minds of the people that come on the live. But for the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are watching, and from the hundreds of thousands of people that will see the content edited and passed upon this in the future, right? That specifically is incredibly important for changing people's attitudes in our society. And that's why I do this in the first place. And the only reason I've continued this conversation, I haven't kicked you yet, is because I've heard these types of concerns and I wanted to address them on this particular type of platform, right, in front of a bunch of people, because I think these are incredibly important points to address. I think that you ultimately, when you came up on the live, are distracting away from not only the main purpose of the live of me debating people, but you're also taking away from the detrimental nature of who we're debating against, right? Because now I'm not debating MAGA, I'm debating you who thinks we're a fucking grifter because you wanted to come up on the live lying about the fact that you're MAGA because you're entitled to being up on the live in my time. Like, that's
like, it's a live stream, bro. It's not that deep.
Well, wait, okay, so you don't think the live streams are effective. You can say that you don't think the live streams are effective, but I just gave you countless reasons to believe that to be true. That just makes me believe that you don't actually care about any of the things you care about in terms of coming up on the live in the very first place, right? Or even in general, do you have values? Do you care about our country?
You think I don't care about people scamming other people?
If you don't see the value in what I'm doing right now, I genuinely am concerned to see, like, where are your values? What values do you have? Do you, like, you should see the value in this, like, genuinely.
In doing gotcha debates, bro? Like,
in doing a debate to change people's minds. When you just say gotcha debates, you're trying to undermine how actually effective debates are in changing people's minds.
The people you talk to, they're not gonna change their mind.
Just because you
That's
can't.
the point I'm trying to make when I say that.
This is projection. Just because you can't change your mind doesn't mean there aren't thousands of people in the chat that have changed their mind.
What?
Hey, listen, Josiah, I used to be a Trump supporter. I have changed my mind based upon this exact content in the first place. My mind changed because of debate style content, because of news, because of people who made content who were left-wing people that changed my mind. That is why I am here right now debating people on the live stream, because I grew up in a Christian conservative household where I was socialized into those particular beliefs. So I know it does change people's minds because it fucking happened for me. Not only do I know it changed people's minds because it happened for me, but it's happened for thousands of people in the context of my chat that are watching right fucking now, let alone the many DMs that I get every single day, right? Of people who have changed their minds. People have come up to me, talked about the ammo that they have to be able to bring up to their conservative family members. They feel like they actually can, like, say something, right, in terms of a response to them, right? Because they've listened to debates and educated themselves in that respect, and they've critically thought about these ideas. It gives them the ability to respond to their family members. And I know how important that is because I have MAGA family members, right? I've had. Right. And I've changed some of their minds even. I've changed minds of people in my family. I've changed minds, right, of people in my life, right, particularly that had beliefs like that in the past as well. So not only has this happened in my life, but it's also happened, right, for thousands of people that have engaged with this content in the very first place. And it is honestly disgraceful for you to sit up here on this live and to say that no one fucking changes their mind from this, right, to distract away from what we're doing here, when there are thousands of people that prove it to be true every single day on this platform. It's actually disgraceful, genuinely.
all right, well, you can think that if you want.
I will. And the thousands of people in my live that continue to come here every single day will think that as well. Too legit. Thank you for the galaxy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because we care about facts. We care about evidence. We care about changing the world and making it a better place. And all you care about is message in the very first place, so that you can specifically feel like, oh, you can't change anyone's minds by debating. Didn't you just come up here to debate in the very first place to change my mind into thinking that I couldn't change people's minds in the very first place? Again, a self-defeating position in the very first place. You don't even know what you're arguing. And that's because you're taking an anti-intellectual position that debates in themselves don't change people's minds, because you yourself are projecting, and you can't change your mind does not mean other people cannot.
Hey, I'm gonna drop, but before I do you mind if I
Bye, Dean.
bring up? Bye, Jake. See you, man. But before I drop here, Parker, do you mind if I bring some awareness to something that's pretty important?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So for everybody watching, you may have saw my videos on it, or other creators' videos on it, or you might have just been watching the news. But we got word that a long time before Donald Trump started the war with Iran, Iran sent a communication to him saying that they have sleeper agents in America and they're going to activate them for acts of terror if he strikes their facilities. I reported this, a couple other people did, because that is, according to NBC, literally what Iran had threatened. However, as I posted on my Instagram story, my TikTok story, my Discord, my Instagram channel, etc., it is really important to be incredibly mindful of the racism and xenophobia that the accusation of sleeper agents can bring about. So if you see that racism, if you see that xenophobia, call it out, be very mindful of it. we really don't want to repeat what was onset by 9/11 and Bush's war on terror. We don't want to repeat that at all. So although like reporting these facts are important, right? Obviously, it's important to point out that Donald Trump has risked the lives of Americans because he knew about this threat sent to him from the Iranian government. That we need to be mindful that this can have a huge bleed over effect into how individuals from the Middle East are treated in this country or with Middle Eastern descent. So keep that in mind, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and drop down.
Thank you, Dean,
Parker,
for
the rest of your life.
You as well, man.
Hold on, Dean. But hold on, really, just quick before you go. On the news, didn't you guys have a situation where someone in your little friend group was letting an 81-year-old hook up with a 14-year-old, or trying to get them to hook up with a 14-year-old?
What? Who?
Pretty sure it was on. I mean, it was either Dean or you. One of you two had somebody in one of your friend groups that you guys were talking to got arrested, or he got something happening because he was trying to make an 81-year-old hook up with a 14-year-old.
Who?
I don't
know who you're talking about. I've never heard this before.
I feel like I know about this.
Yeah, you do. You do. It was on the news. It was I don't remember exactly what the age was, but I know it was a very, very underage girl, and one of your friends was trying to like pre-plan that hookup.
Who? What friend?
I don't know what it was. It wasn't like that. It was just mentioned. I remember seeing it in one of the debates, and also remember seeing
this is just completely made up. Completely made up. I don't know what friend
just said he heard something about that.
Wait, you said this on the you said that you saw this on the news?
Not news like CBN, but like news like scrolling through my phone and like on like about like political stuff. You know what I mean?
It does. Are you thinking of the name Camille?
I might be. I don't know. I don't really remember who it was. All I'm saying is that I don't know why Parker would say it's made up, because I know you know about it, because you just said you thought you knew about it.
I've never been friends with anyone like that.
I mean, well, then I didn't say it was you. Then I said,
listen, I think that the closest thing that I could think of what you're referencing is a guy named Camille that was a P3DO and tried to get with a 14-year-old boy. But
that's what it was. Yep.
There you go. So I mean, he's not my friend, never been my friend. I was scammed by him as well. I was just a victim of different targeted attacks from him. And B, when I learned about this like a very long time ago, I actually was well on my way to testify as a witness in front of a New York court about Camille and his character before the supporting lawyer said that they no longer needed my witness testimony. So,
okay. Well, I mean, then I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you because that kind of stood out as a concern to me for somebody who advocates for, the rights of children. I mean, Kamala, who's a big,
Kamala. What are you talking about?
I'm saying,
listen, man. I don't want to I don't want to overshare here, but I mean, I've even been like in contact with like the victim of that was for a while, just working out with like how can we make sure that the victim is safe and sound, working with authorities, working with child protective services. I mean, there's like a whole lot that goes into it that I don't want to like divulge on live, but anyways, like the culmination of this is no, this is not somebody that me and Parker have ever been friends with, and like the association that like I've personally had with Camille was him being introduced to me as like a potential creator manager, and then it ended up that he was trying to scam me and steal my social security number, on top of a whole lot of other stuff. But I mean, hopefully that clears up your question.
That does, thank you. Well, Parker, I guess I can come back to you then. If you did not want Iran to get bombed, and that's something that you didn't want to happen, what was your excuse for?
Let's let Dean go first. Okay.
I thought you said Dean was leaving.
Yeah, wait, I do gotta leave. And then also, I just want to say, I just saw somebody in the chat that said, Parker, when you're gonna realize that Dean is bad. I don't know like what's going on today, but like seemingly like I just would like to reiterate, I don't think I'm a bad person. And if you think I'm a bad person, I mean, I think that you're wrong. But anyways, I'm gonna drop down. Have a good rest.
No, I appreciate you, Dean. I appreciate you, Dean. Don't believe them. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you're not a bad person, bro. We appreciate you, man.
Okay. I mean, I guess I don't know if you're gonna be aware of this. I'm pretty sure you should be. But when America bombed Somalia
but before we do, I just want to say Dean is one of the very few people in my life or not very few people. I mean, I have a very few amount of people that are in my life in general. So I guess I could say that Dean is one of the people in my life I'm very comfortable saying is a very good person. Anyone I associate myself with, I want them to be good people, right? I think Dean is a good person. I really do
I
believe Dean is a good
never
person.
disagree that
I'm just saying that
I
for the
honestly
chat.
really do
I'm just
like
saying, no,
both
I'm
of you
just
guys.
I'm just saying that in general. I just want that to be clear.
Yeah.
Obviously, people know that I believe that. I'm literally Dean's one of my best friends, but I just want to say
But,
I think Dean is a really good guy.
But yeah, I agree totally. I was just bringing something up because I've never actually gotten to speak to Dean about that, but I've heard about that a lot, and it was kind of old news. That's why I don't think he remembered immediately at first. But I have been wanting to speak to him about that for a long time. So I didn't say that was like something that happened. I just wanted to hear his side. I think so.
Wait, restate it. I didn't know. I didn't really follow what you were saying.
I wanted to hear both sides. That's something I'm really prominent about because, I mean, I don't want to go into it, but I'm really prominent about hearing both sides. So I've been very interested in talking to Dean about that for a while. As you can see, he didn't really understand it at first because he didn't know what I was talking about at first, but then he kind of remembered it. So it was kind of old. That's the only reason I brought it up. I do like Dean a lot. I know that probably wasn't true. I just wanted to ask about it because I think it's very important to ask both sides.
That's fine. Smitty, how old are you?
I'm 52 years old.
Do you support Trump?
I do not, but I have something that I wanted to ask you personally.
I do really appreciate you. I am just looking for some debates. Please only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Jake, real quick before I go on to the next person?
Yeah. So I actually never supported Trump. I just wanted to talk to you, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
You see,
Sorry,
I wasted like an hour and 40 minutes just talking to people who don't even support Trump. Like, it's just so annoying. Like, why do people do that? Like, I'm actually like genuinely like, please don't do that. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
40.
Do you support Trump?
I do.
Okay, why so?
Really, it was the far left rhetoric on Israel that led me to supporting Trump. First time in my life supporting a Republican candidate.
Okay. Do you support him calling for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians? Right.
No.
No right to
I
return
don't,
for Palestinians. Him calling for Trump Gaza. Do you support him defending?
I disagree with Trump Gaza.
Do you support him engaging in offensive wars for Israel with Iran? Right. Him calling for the airstrikes in Iran.
I will say that I did not agree with him pulling out of the peace plan that Obama had reached, but under the present circumstances, with Israel having already softened Iran seeing their kind of meager response to Israel that they've been able to muster, and having the opportunity after all these nuclear scientists have been killed to wipe out their facilities, I think it was a good move.
How do you feel about money from the U.S. going to defend Ukraine?
I'm in support of it.
You're okay with it? Okay. All right. So then you support the United States because you think that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iran. Did you buy that justification with the war in Iraq as well?
At the time, I did. Obviously that was wrong, but this is a bit different. I think. Well, I'll say this about the war in Iraq since we're talking about it. Saddam was not permitting, probably because he wanted a belief that he could possess chemical weapons, or I guess I can't speak to his motives, but he was not permitting inspectors, which was part of the deal when they ended the 1992 Gulf War. So I think there was reason to believe there was weapons of mass destruction in light of the fact that Saddam was not permitting the inspections and...
Okay. So then you agree that even though you had reasons to believe, particularly that there could be weapons of mass destruction, particularly at that time, you would agree that that was a bad justification to go into the Middle East back then, correct?
In retrospect, sure.
Okay. So then why couldn't you say the same thing now? Say that, oh, you might think there could be evidence that says likely they might have weapons of mass destruction, but that's not good reason to go invade. That's not a good reason to involve ourselves in the conflict. That's not a good reason to continue the forever wars.
I don't think that we should put boots on the ground in Iran, and there's a bit of a difference,
Why
here.
not?
So why not? Because the commitment of American money and lives is a lot different when you're talking about putting boots on the ground versus dropping a bomb.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know, you have a risk of lives, specifically when you even dropped the bombs on Iran in the very first place, because they're going to respond to military bases that the U.S. has within the Middle East where there are U.S. service members there, and they will fucking die. And those service members are going to be dead because of Donald Trump. That's seriously the reason. Those service members will be dead because of Trump. Their families will have to have funerals for them because Donald Trump led to their deaths, right? That's what's going to happen. You know that, right?
There's I would say at this point, a good probability that some service members will die. I could agree with that, although I wouldn't say it's a guarantee.
Okay, so, okay, well, given that they do die, is that just okay because, we got rid of the nuclear weapons or something? Where's the penny? Even though Donald Trump's the reason why we were in that position in the very first place, because he pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement.
Yeah, which again, I don't agree with. But when you're talking about how the circumstances are now, the reality now, it seems like Iran's nuclear weapons program is now wiped out. It seems that way. And if that's the case, it's hard to say that it's worth service members dying because you can't prove the negative of what if Iran had developed nuclear weapons. But at the same time, it could be catastrophically more people dying if the nuclear weapons program was not wiped out.
So then why did Trump pull out of the nuclear peace agreement? And do you blame him for that insofar as that you shouldn't have supported him in the very first place as to why we're in this position right now?
Yeah, I have conceded that point, and I am not a Trump apologist in any way. Again, and I would like to talk about Palestine too. I've answered a lot of your questions, but I don't agree with him doing that. At the same time, in light of the present circumstances, we are where we are now, and I think it was probably a good move, although I could be wrong about that. But if I had to say, is it more likely than not a good move? I think it is right now.
Which particular thing is a good move?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat
which
that?
particular thing is a good move?
Bombing the Iran nuclear facilities.
Okay. All right. So you would say it's more likely better than it was not. So then how many service members would have to die in order for you to say that it wasn't worth it?
Parker, I can't give you a precise figure on that. And again,
Could you give me a general threshold?
I can't. It's like if we wind up getting entangled in a huge conflict in Iran, which I don't think is going to happen, in part because of, again, the meager response they've been able to really push back against Israel with. I just don't think their capabilities are quite there. And so,
if their capabilities aren't quite there, why are you so scared of them? That you have to strike them first. Like Israel had to engage in a preemptive strike. We're so scared of Iran that they're going to do something to the rest of the world, but they really don't have anything.
If they had a nuclear weapon, that would change everything. I mean,
do you think they would use it?
I think they might. I know it's not rational for them to use it, but
Here, actually, could I ask you this question? If North Korea was going to get a nuclear weapon, would you think that we should bomb North Korea to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon?
North Korea has nuclear. You're saying in a hypothetical world where they don't have nuclear weapons?
Hypothetical, yes. Prior to the point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to if we had it isolated to, we know that there's 3 facilities and that's all, and the kind of intelligence that we have on Iran, I think largely through probably Israel's doing. They seem to have a very good intelligence on what's going on there in Iran, with how they've been able to isolate and take out different scientists and members of the Iran Revolutionary Guard. So it seems like they have pretty solid intelligence. And yeah, if we could take out North Korea's nuclear program before they got a weapon with a high level of certainty, I would say sure, yeah.
So you'd be okay with bombing North Korea and starting war with North Korea to prevent them from getting nuclear weapons?
Yeah, well, bombing nuclear facilities to take out their capacity
that
to
starts
produce
war with them,
only.
though. Like, it's like, I don't know why we're like looking at it right now as just this in isolation, as if Iran's not going to respond. Like seriously, you know that this is going to lead to like broad conflict, right? The idea that it's just, oh, we're going to be totally peaceful after we just bombed Iran and destroyed their nuclear enrichment facilities is just a laughably insane idea. If they bombed us and did that, how would we respond? Do you think we would? Or do you think we'd be like, nah, we're good. We're peace. Let's talk about peace.
But, yeah, of course we would respond, but we're in a much stronger position. Again, I think part of this is that Israel has had the preemptive strikes against Iran, and Iran's response has been pretty meager. That I think, when you're making this decision, has to come into the calculation of what their capabilities are, and are they going to really push this, and are they going to be able to strike back in a meaningful way? I don't have all the intelligence, obviously, that the government has, but it seems to me like there's a good chance that they're not going to be able to mount a strong counter. And in light of that, that in order to wipe out their nuclear facilities and capabilities, I can't say definitively 100% that I'm going to look back at this moment in retrospect and be on the same position that I am now, but I think that it was a calculated risk that was worth taking at this time.
Okay. So again, right, I don't think that you have any good reason to establish that as of right now, as it is the case that you don't even know what the response is going to be yet. You're just assuming it's not going to be bad.
Well, I'm not assuming that out of thin air. You could see that they have not been able to muster much of a response to Israel, who's much closer.
Okay, so to clarify, right? You think that because, right, Israel is quote unquote doing good in a conflict against Iran so far, right? That somehow means that like U.S. service members aren't going to die at large in the Middle East because of these attacks?
I never said that. I actually conceded that I think it's likely at least a service member will die.
Okay. Let's say 1,000 service members died. Would you say that would be worth it?
I think that would make it pretty close for me, that if 1,000 service members died, I would say, actually, no, I'd say that's probably not worth it. I don't think 1,000 service members will die.
To clarify, right? You know that's something that very much could happen, right? It is very much plausible that if there's an extended conflict between the United States and Iran, that many service members could die, right? But even one, right, I think is too much. I don't think that should have to be. Dude, that's just crazy to me that you're like just totally okay with multiple even service members dying, right? Just because it is the case that Donald Trump wants to bomb Iran, right? Something that we shouldn't even be involved in the very first place. And the idea that you have that against rationality, they're going to be, dropping nuclear weapons, right? Just simply doesn't make any sense.
Well, as far as
this
that
is also
goes,
nothing. Russia and China said that they are prepared to help defend Iran.
As far as the against rationality point goes, it's an Islamic fundamentalist regime. They do irrational things. Suicide bombing is not rational from a self-preservation standpoint, obviously, but
wait, that
it's a
doesn't destroy
tactic.
your entire country or everything you love.
If you are a jihadist, then that could
Okay,
be
wait.
warranted.
Anyone, would they want their entire country to be destroyed? Their whole family, everything they care about in their life, gone.
Perk, I agree with you that it's completely insane, but
no, does that even make sense?
It doesn't make sense from a secular point of view.
From any perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Well, if you believe in a paradise that you're going to go to for, following a certain religion or creeds, or
I'm sorry. Are you under the idea that Muslims believe if they nuke if the whole planet goes down in nuclear war, that we'll all just be living in paradise?
Not all of us, and I would never say Muslims. I would say Islamic fundamentalists.
Okay, so
there's a big difference.
Okay, so then you must say the same thing about Christian extremists around the world, correct?
I would not say that. I mean, there was a point in time when Catholic or Christian extremists did very crazy things in the name of God. Sure, to an extent, but I mean, not quite how it was.
How it used to happen? Yeah. Christianity used to be even worse.
Agreed. No argument for me there. Can I ask you a question, Parker? You've asked. I've answered your questions in good faith.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that Israel is committing a genocide in Palestine?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to pivot from the rest of this topic and try and say that it's not a genocide?
Well, I'm happy to finish this topic as long if you will engage me in that.
Is this the reason why you voted for Donald Trump? Because you don't think it's a genocide?
Well, yeah, and I think that rhetoric can lead to...
So to clarify, he voted for Donald Trump.
Of Israel.
You voted for Donald Trump because you think that what's happening in Gaza is not a genocide.
I know that it's not a genocide.
Okay. All right. So but that's a reason why you voted for Donald Trump. So say that. Okay. So how does that get you to vote for Donald Trump, even if you consider that to be the case? Which is an insane fucking take.
What, that I don't think it's a genocide?
Yeah. History will see this as a genocide.
I disagree. Genocide requires a specific intent, right, to eliminate a group of people.
I don't even think that you have to grant that in order to consider something genocide.
Well, that's the legal definition.
Well, I don't necessarily always use legal definitions. Do you always use legal definitions? And also, I mean, even from a legal context, we can reference the ICC and the ICJ saying that there's plausibly genocide from their legal definition. But I don't think we always use the legal definition of genocide. For example, would you use the legal definition of genocide in Nazi Germany when referencing the Holocaust? No.
Well, of course, but that's a good point. Is it genocide just because civilians are dying?
So it's when it meets a certain threshold of civilians dying, right? Given that it could have been prevented, yes, I do think that it could be considered a genocide just within that respect. I do think that we would look at situations and say, given that it's surpassed, a certain threshold of deaths, or obviously that we would consider that mass killing of people that share a particular characteristic, right, as a genocide, even without the context of these quote unquote special intents that you want to prescribe.
Did the Allies commit genocide against the Germans in World War II?
How many innocent Germans died? And do I think that there was a mass killing of innocent Germans? Would I think that could be considered genocide? Sure. If there was a mass level of Germans that were killed, right, and it is the case that they're innocent, I'm totally okay with calling that a genocide as well.
2 million German civilians died during World War II.
Yeah. Would you consider that genocide?
I would not, because there was not a specific intent to kill civilians. It was in order to remove Hitler from power, and so it was kind of a
I just want to let you know
evil.
the reason why we have the UN and we have these international rights and agencies in the very first place is so that we don't have civilian casual deaths like we did in World War II, because that level of civilian casualties is not fucking acceptable by any fucking means. That is not acceptable, right? On either side, that's not acceptable. And I know that you disagree, right, specifically with that level of civilian death.
Of course I do disagree with that many people dying, but it's the real world, right? And you have to factor in like what you're eliminating in order to. So you don't want that many people to die, but in order to take out Hitler, if it's a necessary evil, then.
I don't think that you had to. I don't think that in order to be able to take out Hitler, that many innocent people had to die. I think that you could have. I think that you could have done things to prevent civilian death in World War II that were not done. That could have easily been done. And that's why we have the UN and human rights organizations internationally, specifically, that apply these standards of war crimes. We have the Geneva Convention, right? We have different standards for war crimes, right? You can't just say there are no war crimes. That's bad. That's really bad to say there are no war crimes. So it's just war.
War is an ugly thing. And when you're fighting against a force that doesn't have a conventional army, that hides in tunnels underneath civilian centers, and that you're trying to eliminate from being able to hurt your citizens, because the reality is the only party
I'm sorry. I don't think this justification lands for you at all when you're blocking food, right, and nutrients from going into the country, right, which has been identified by the ICC, ICJ, and international human rights organizations, right? Please explain to me why that's happening, why they're not allowing the sufficient level of food trunks into the country specifically to feed the starving population in Gaza.
They have allowed over 1 million tons of aid to go into.
Oh, so are
Gaza.
you saying? Oh, are you denying that they have been blocking aid specifically in starving Palestinians? Does he do this? Because the history books are going to say you're a genocide-denying fucking insane lunatic. Okay, that's what the history books are going to say, and that's what I'm saying on my live fucking right now. Okay, that is disgusting. This has been identified. There's very clear information on this internationally based on what I've already said, right? That there's very clear information on this.
If they wanted to allow 0 trucks in, they could have.
Oh, okay, okay. So because they specifically, it wasn't 0, then it means they weren't limiting it, right? And to a manner that would starve the population in Gaza.
Well, clearly they're not completely trying to starve the population of Gaza if they allowed over 1 million tons of aid in. I don't know all the circumstances.
Oh, because they're not completely starving the population of Gaza. That makes the level of starvation that they're causing okay?
If they were trying to...
Wait, to clarify, just to clarify, does that...
If they were trying to...
Wait, is it not a war crime to purposefully, right, starve a civilian population?
It is a war crime.
Okay,
yeah.
So then why are you justifying war crimes right now?
You could say their purpose.
Then why are you justifying war crimes? No level of war crimes are you saying is good, right?
I don't think they're starving.
You don't think that they're starving?
I don't think that there is an intent on the Israeli government to starve the population, as evidenced by over.
Then why are they limiting
food
food trucks? Why are they limiting the amount of food? Insofar as the population is dying, this has been already identified to be the case.
How many people have died of starvation in Gaza?
I can go find the number. Would you like me to find the number?
Yeah, sure.
And also, by the way, by the way,
yeah,
you know that there could be also starvation without people starving to death, right? As well, there's also that you have to categorize in.
Of course, and I don't doubt that there are people that are in need of food in Gaza. But I don't think that there's a large amount of people starving to death. And I think that Israel is trying to balance a lot of things here. Just like with John McConnell, the former Allied the former Supreme Commander of the NATO forces did an investigation and determined that Israel goes above and beyond what NATO does in order to avoid civilian casualties.
Okay, so now you're just saying that they're going above and beyond to avoid civilian casualties, even though they're limiting food from being able to go into in Gaza, which is specifically leading to people starving, right? And it is the case that they're like literally sniping innocent children, like in the head, literally. Like we have documented reports of that happening, just in the head. Them limiting water, let alone using white phosphorus.
There's documented reports of children being shot in the head.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's proven that it's from Israeli snipers, and I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Now he just doesn't. He doesn't believe it's from Israel. Who do you think's doing it?
I wouldn't put it past Hamas to be doing it. This whole thing.
This is conspiracy ideology. That everything that's bad that happens is Hamas. Everything that's bad that happens is Hamas. It can't possibly be the state of Israel. It's Hamas. Like, Hamas, dude, you can acknowledge the evils of Hamas that Hamas has caused, while also acknowledging the evils from the state of Israel, right? Why can't you acknowledge both? Why is it that you only say every single thing that happens that's bad has to be Hamas?
I can acknowledge that Israel has done bad things. I can acknowledge that. Look, it's war. What I dispute is that there's a specific intent to kill civilian populations, to label this a genocide. The only party that you can prove has that intent was Hamas when they went in on October 7th.
So if I can give you examples of them having specific intent, if I can give you examples of them having specific intent to kill Palestinians, maybe people within the Israeli government doing so, would you then say that's okay to then say it's a genocide?
Look, if a soldier goes kind of rogue, or even one commander and has a specific intent, then that's obviously wrong and needs to be condemned, and that person should be punished. But I don't think that alone justifies that this is a genocide. That's just a bad actor on Israelis' behalf. And you can't control what everybody does in a situation like this. I do think that person should be punished, and I do say that it would be wrong if someone had a specific intent to kill any civilian.
Okay, so any level of innocent civilian death is not acceptable. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree with that, because if you
I'm kicking you for that. I'm just kicking you for that. I don't think I can, like, what debate am I supposed to have with someone who thinks that? Like, genuinely, like, if you think that civilian deaths, right, are acceptable, right, then I don't know how to talk to you. What the fuck am I supposed to say to convince you? That's just a lack of empathy. It genuinely is. Like, that's a genuine lack of empathy. If you say that, that's so fucking crazy. I can't even fucking understand that position. That was actually diabolical, dude. Holy fucking shit, that's so insane. Oh my god, that shit gets to me, dude. I really don't like when people say shit like that. It's really fucking gets me, dude. That's so fucking nuts, dude. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
And what's your birth year?
06.
What month?
October.
Okay, here, let me thank some people, and then I'll make sure to get onto this debate continually. Mara, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Ashley, thank you so much for the $15. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's incredibly sad. Thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Leveled Up, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I do remember. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Leveled Up. Thank you. I do remember you. Jamie, thank you so much for the $10. John, thank you for the $10. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Christine, thank you so much for the $25. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I definitely would have said that. Thank you so much, Christine. Grace, thank you for the $3. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. They said, please read. I got you. They said, As a person with a sister in the military, it's crazy to hear someone almost say it's worth some amount of lives, like playing chips. It may not be my sister over there, but that's someone's mom, someone's son, someone's sister. They are not NPCs. They are loved ones. Seriously, Grace, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Christine, thank you so much for the $30 again. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Zoe with the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Darling with $1. Thank you. Ryan with the $5. Manuela, thank you so much. I appreciate the $9. Susie with the $7. And again, Megan with the $50. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I did get to that, but thank you so much, Megan. I really appreciate that. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate the diamond gun. Thank you. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the bio, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, as well as in the description of the YouTube, everyone. But secondly, I just want to let everyone know, a free way to support me, literally just like the stream and or follow. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to subscribe. It's completely free to subscribe. If you're on TikTok, do make sure to follow. For the 3,200 people on YouTube, make sure to like the stream. Let's try to get to 2,000 likes, everybody. I would really appreciate that. Okay, go for it. So why do you support Trump?
Well, the main point I wanted to talk to you about with you just having your last debate was,
can you tell me why you support Trump?
Yeah, because of his policies. His policies are way better.
Which
Gas
policies?
prices are down.
Gas prices are going to go up because he just bombed Iran.
That's not going to do anything. Tariffs are getting raised. We're going to make our own economy off of our own.
Tariffs
would
cause not only would tariffs cause prices to go up because it would reduce the level of imports that are coming to the country, explicitly oil imports that would then cause the price to go up. But also, that's not disputing the fact that Iran controls a trade route specifically that is incredibly important to the global oil supply. Right, around 20% of the global oil supply goes through this trade port, right? And it is the case that will cause massive inflation around the world. So, and in the United States. So, if you are saying that that's good, well, then I'm really confused why you're saying that Donald Trump needs to lower gas prices.
It's only been 5 months into his presidency. As you go on and tariffs increase and you do more production within your own country, your economics are going to go up, your prices are going to go down, and that's better for your American people.
No.
You're looking for the other countries.
Tariffs.
Yes, that is 100%.
Can I explain to you how you don't understand tariffs? Let me explain.
I'm not saying tariffs.
That's what you just
saying
said.
we're trying to not buy. We're not trying to import from other countries. We want to make our own products, which reduces the cost for the American people.
What
Trump's going to do.
Wrong. So listen here. Let me explain why that's not true. The reason why that's not true is because when you impose a tariff, right, it is the case that it's going to be passed down to the American consumer because it's placed on the American business that's importing the product. And because
right, but we're trying to stop buying from other countries.
Let me please finish. And because
you interrupt me all the time, though, so
go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. But we're trying to stop buying from other countries. That's what we're doing. We're trying to raise the production rate in America. Once you increase that production rate, you stop having to buy so much from other countries at these high costs, which lowers the cost eventually for Americans. It's not like you snap and the cost goes down. It takes time. Gas prices in California were up to $8. It's not going to be in a snap that it goes down. You have to have time to find oil in your own country to reduce the prices so that you're not buying it from others.
Okay, so again, the reason why you don't understand what you're talking about here is because tariffs will lead to an increase in prices, right, comparative to the level of prices that exist now, right? And even though in the long run, the prices will slightly decrease from that original increased point, they will never go lower than what they originally were. They will still be higher in terms of price because cost of production is more here in the United States comparative to countries around the world. And that's why currently it's being produced in other places around the world. They produce it for either the same price at better quality or better quality for less price, right? Or any of those set of conditions, right? That's specifically why it's already under the market being produced in other places around the world. Right. So you're saying we would increase the production here in the United States. Yes, but that would only be in a response to the price in of itself increasing. And then because the price increased, it then incentivizes suppliers to produce it in the United States. But that would still be at a higher cost as the cost of production is higher in the United States.
I understand that. But if you're not buying it from other people, as we increase our tariffs, they're increasing ours. Ours are at higher rates, though. If we still buy right now, our prices are going to go up like crazy because these because the prices have to go up so that the companies can make money on it. As we start though getting our own oil, making our own cars, American productivity is cheaper than buying it from another country with a over 100% tariff.
You're just yapping. No.
No,
Right?
no.
No, listen. No, it's not cheaper than what it originally was. It is cheaper than the tariffed good, sure, but it's not cheaper than the goods are now. So it makes it worse for consumers. It's a tax on lower and middle income individuals because they spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods, right? Meaning that it is the case that if they spend a greater proportion of their goods on consumer goods and those consumer goods are more expensive, it disproportionately negatively impacts lower income individuals as higher income individuals spend a lower portion of their overall income on consumer goods.
Let me ask you, so are you saying as American productivity is done more, you're saying that prices are not going to go down? You're saying it's not going to be cheaper if cars are made in the United States and we're not buying them from another country?
Tariffs.
You're telling us that it's not going to be cheaper.
Tariffs.
I'm not talking about tariffs. I'm not talking about tariffs. Tariffs aren't on your own country. Tariffs are for other countries. The president, the administration.
Oh my God. Wow, that was a ridiculous standpoint.
You're not understanding.
I am understanding.
You're not understanding.
I promise you I am. Right now, in terms of this, tariffs are not just placed on other countries. Tariffs specifically are paid by the American importer, and they're passed down to the American consumer because they're cost push, meaning that it's not a tax that's placed on the profits out when you take it out in terms of income. It's a tax placed on the revenue. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think. I mean, if you just look at, okay, I'm just going to go in the two presidencies, right? Biden and Trump. That Miss Vera. For Biden, energy was not the most independent. It was that is such a false statement. You cannot say that.
We were more energy independent under Biden than we were under Trump's first term.
Under his first term. Okay, that's fine. The second term, he's imposing tariffs on other countries. They have to pay more. We're trying to become self-sufficient.
No.
Oh
What is it? What is a tariff? Can you tell me what a tariff is?
It's an imposed tax on imported goods.
Yes. And you think that other countries are paying that tax?
No, they don't want to. They're not going to buy from us. We're trying to stop trading. We're trying to be more self-sufficient.
No.
Which lowers the cost for American people.
Wait. If we're importing the products, that means we want to stop American consumers from buying products. Wait. If we're importing a product, that means we want to stop American consumers from buying products from countries around the world. How do you prevent?
We don't want to import.
How do you prevent American consumers from buying products from countries around the world? By making it more expensive.
Right. We don't want to import from other countries. We want to make our own products.
Yes, we do. That's why people are buying it. That's how the market works.
That's more expensive.
No, it's not. It's actually cheaper. That's why people are buying it.
Okay, whatever you say, you're right. But
no, that's how the market works. That's how the market works. I'm not brainwashed. Wait, what do you mean? I have a degree in economics.
Is
that brainwashing?
Where did you get that from?
I'm not going to tell you where I got my degree from. I'm not going to dox myself.
Okay, but you're 100% wrong.
I'm not. I'm literally not wrong. How am I wrong?
That is 100% wrong.
How am I wrong?
You cannot say that it's not better to be self-sufficient than to import from other countries.
Yeah,
you cannot.
I'll explain.
You cannot argue that.
We're making us more self-sufficient by advocating for like the Inflation Reduction Act. Chelsea, I appreciate this dinosaur. The Inflation Reduction Act was the largest investment in renewable energy ever, which makes us less dependent on foreign countries for energy. And adapts to like the future.
Is less dependent.
That does make us self-sufficient. And also, by the way, being self-sufficient should also include working with our allies. So why are we placing tariffs on our allies that are working with us?
Because we don't need the allies; they need us. We don't need Israel to help us. We're more powerful.
Wait, I don't want Israel. I don't want to help Israel. I'm not talking about Israel. I'm saying like Canada, for example. Right? You're saying that we shouldn't be trading with Canada?
No. I'm not saying trade. I'm saying allies as in everything. Military, and we don't need their support, their military. If they branched off and we were just two completely different, we could go in on our own. It's not like we depend on Canada.
I never
We
said
can
that.
be
I'm talking
self-sufficient as a
I'm talking
country.
economically, not militarily right now.
Okay, what did you say at the beginning then?
I'm talking economically, not militarily.
So you're saying that we need Canada to trade to be sufficient?
Yes, actually, like we want to trade with our allies. We want to trade with countries around the world because it makes
100%.
market conditions in the United States more efficient.
But if we could, if we could completely stop trading with everyone and make our own productivity in our own country, I'm just saying, if we could get as much as we could out and be self-sufficient on oil, on energy, on car manufacturing, we'd be self-sufficient. We'd be higher economically in status than other countries.
What do you say? You're yapping, bro. Tariffs make us worse
No,
off economically. We went from several quarters of multiple percentage points real GDP growth, real GDP being GDP growth minus inflation, right? Under the Biden-Harris administration, several quarters of multiple percentage points real GDP growth to quarter one 2025, 0.3% decline in real GDP, which has not been seen by practically any other developed country around the world. That's because of Donald Trump's disastrous tariff policy, and he barely put it in place. It was put in place and then immediately was paused almost right after, and that still fucked the economy.
Okay, well, I really hope then that one day we have to import from every other country, and then we can really see how far our economic status falls below other countries. I really hope.
Imports make our economy more efficient. So if you actually want to get rid of imports, you're going to make our economy worse off. You're going to make this country poor.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Whatever you say.
That's what economists indicate. Tariffs make us worse off. They make our country poor. That's just factual.
Okay.
Okay, you can deny that all you want, but like that's the facts. Now let me thank some people real quick. Let me thank some people. I'm a bit far behind. Holy shit. I think I'm really far behind, actually. R&D, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Spencer with the $5. Jem with the $5. Thank you so much. Amber with the $5. Matt, thank you for the $5. Amber with the $5. Spencer with the $5. Thank you so much. Jeff with the $10. Thank you. James with the £5. Thank you. Patricia, thank you so much for the $15. Plausible, thank you for the $5. Raspberry, thank you so much for the $10. Coral with the $10, thank you. Caitlin, thank you for the $5. Mike, thank you for the $5. Brianna with the $5. Spencer with the $2, thank you. Gary with the $20, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Disgusted Veteran with the $50, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Said New York Boomer here. Really trying to wrap my head around the way MAGA have justified the most horrific behavior. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Disgusted Veteran. I really appreciate that. And Gary, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know it's actually crazy. Gary. And then Chaos, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Sour, thank you for the $2. And then Gary, again, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's actually incredibly true, unless you do global tariffs. Elena, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much. Shelby with the $5. Calvin, thank you so much for the $4. Noah with the $5. Thank you so much. All right, you can continue. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to say about why I support Trump and in your last debate again is the war between Iran and Israel. How you're saying that we're in a war with Iran.
Iran? Yes, we're in a war with Iran.
Is
according to Trump.
Okay. We're not in a war. We just disabled their nuclear facilities and stopped them from killing.
Disabled is a really, really, really cute way of referring to bombing their country.
We bombed their nuclear facilities, not
you
their
bombed
country.
their country. Yes, that's their country, dude.
Yeah, we didn't kill anybody. We didn't kill any
That's
Iranians.
not what I said.
We killed their three.
I have a question.
We destroyed their three nuclear facilities.
I have a question. If Russia bombed nuclear enrichment sites operated by the government in the United States, what would you consider that? Did they bomb the USA?
They bombed the USA. If you don't kill anybody though, it's for a tactical strategy. Sure. Wait.
But you still said that they bombed the USA. You still said that they bombed the USA. Thank you.
They put bomb. Yes, they landed bombs in the country. Did the USA kill anybody?
No, I'm not saying
with their bombs.
Not to my knowledge. Other bombs were. I think that was Israel that did that.
Israel, correct. But USA, when they bombed, they dropped I don't know how many bombs, but they obliterated 3 of the nuclear sites. They took away their nuclear capability to destroy Israel.
Wait, they're not going to destroy Israel with nukes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Why do you think they were growing nuclear sites? They were going to use nuclear force.
Probably sovereignty
against Israel.
No, that's not just a use nuclear force. Why does Israel have nukes?
Okay,
does Israel have nukes to nuke other people?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. Then you don't want Israel to have nukes, right?
But we side with Israel. Israel's not going to.
We shouldn't side with Israel.
But we are. So you can't change that.
Yes, we should. We should change that.
But you can't, right? Like you can't. You're not part of the administration. We are allies with Israel.
Wow! Parker, get a job, is not a part of the Trump administration. We've got some incredible information coming out here today, everybody. Look at that. Oh my God, no way.
Like, I don't, we're siding with Israel. We've sided with Israel for years upon years. I don't, if you want to change that, that's your opinion. But Israel's not going to attack us. Iran has put threats to attack the military sites of the UK, France, and US if anything's done. And they haven't because we just demolished part of
Wait. They didn't say they were going to do that with nukes before. What are you talking about? Specifically,
I didn't say nukes, but they're threatening to harm our country. So
because of Trump. Because seriously, you want to know what? Because Donald Trump fucking bombed them. That's why. Oh my God, no way. It's almost like Donald Trump is the reason why they want to fucking bomb us.
Now they can't. He took away
their capability. Wait, he didn't take away all of their bombs, dude. You're specifically talking about their nuclear enrichment facilities.
Well, more powerful than Iran. They're not going to bomb us.
Wait, you said they're gonna bomb, right? U.S. citizen, or they're gonna bomb U.S. Military service people, right, in the Middle East. You know that, right? And U.S. service members will fucking die, and there'll be funerals for them, and their families will have to go to because Donald Trump decided to fucking bomb them because he wants to play superhero.
Okay, but is it okay for Iranians just to go out and massacre the citizens in Israel? Like, we have, if you're saying before we have to protect our allies.
Listen. Killing innocent civilians is always wrong. But describing that Iranians are just going into Israel and mass slaughtering Israelis is, I've never seen this.
They were just bombing them.
Wait. I thought you were saying prior to the conflict. Right? Because now you're saying the government is responding to Israel bombing them. What are they supposed to do? Not respond? Israel bombed us, but we're not going to respond. Like what? Hello? What?
Well, Israel's not.
Wasn't like the whole? Wasn't like your whole thing that Israel has a right to self-defense?
Yeah, they have self-defense.
Israel has a right.
Wait.
So does Iran have a right to self-defense under your view?
Yes, they have self-defense.
Okay, well then, what are you talking about? What should they have done?
They can't attack the United States. They can. They could do whatever they want, but they're not as powerful. We took out 3 nuclear components that they have.
Okay, so you just said they're not as powerful. What's the point of saying that? Push the money. That doesn't mean that we're not going to spend trillions of dollars in the Middle East. That doesn't mean thousands of service members aren't going to die just because they're less powerful than us. They will still kill U.S. servicemen.
You're confident that that's going to happen? You just know that they're going to die?
Yeah, U.S. service members will fucking die because of this conflict. Yes, I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Okay. If you believe that, that's great. But I don't think that...
And that should not happen. That should not happen, Iran.
Correct. I don't think that military...
You're cutting out. I can't hear you.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, you say that it's not going to happen.
I think
right? Because you're literally delusional. Right. You're delusional. You think you can just bomb Iran and they're not going to fucking respond. You think they're not going to attack any U.S. military bases around the world after we just fucking destroyed their nuclear enrichment facilities. You are delusional. You have no clue what you're talking about. You're buying the same lies that the people bought in the early 2000s and saying, there are weapons of mass destruction in this country, in the Middle East. Therefore, we got to invade them to stop them from having weapons of mass destruction. You're buying the same shit. Trump literally argued against this. He originally was arguing that is a fucking bullshit lie that was made up to justify thousands and thousands and thousands of U.S. service members dying and hundreds of thousands and millions of civilians in the Middle East dying because of that horrible foreign policy that now Donald Trump is fucking advocating for right now. It's insane, the hypocrisy. You've got to see this. Oh, literally, bro, this should be an eye-opening wake-up moment for you. It really should be.
No, it's not, because we're not going to get attacked.
Because you're a cult. You're in a cult. You're in a cult. That's why. It's not an eye-opening moment. Because you're in a fucking cult, dude. Literally, dude. What can I fucking get? What could Trump do to get you to be like, I'm not going to support him? Tell me.
I honestly don't even know. Like, everything that he's done is I support. Like, he's made good decisions. He had another term where gas prices.
Wait, stop talking. No. Stop yapping. I'm asking you, name one thing that Donald Trump could do that would get you to not support the guy.
I answered you. I said, I don't know. I'm not going to say extreme. I don't know.
What? What do you mean you don't fucking know? I got you 1 second here. I got you. Would you support Donald Trump if he raped a woman?
No.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Wow.
No. Hold on. Let me finish. I would not support him as a person. Correct? I would not like him as a person for doing that. But economically, I'm not going to put someone like Biden who can't talk on stage. I want someone who's successful.
Kamala was the other candidate. Kamala was the other candidate.
Okay. I wouldn't like Trump as a person. But if his policies, if he makes America better, then I'd rather have him as president.
So if you were certain that he raped a woman, you'd still vote for him because his policies are better. Is that your view?
If his policies are better and our country can succeed more with him as president, yes. As a person, I would not like him.
Jeffrey Dahmer with Donald Trump's policies or Kamala Harris?
I don't. Probably Kamala, but
okay. So there's a line.
You can't.
There's a line. Okay.
So
to clarify, there's a line. So to clarify, if you knew for a fact that he raped a woman, you'd still support Donald Trump. Okay. If he shot someone on Fifth Avenue, would you still vote for him? No. Hold on.
Like, where's the facts that he raped a woman? Like,
I got you. I'll tell you. I got you. I promise. No, it wasn't. That was not dropped. I got you.
There were charges that were dropped.
Hold on. Be quiet, please. Listen.
See, that's the ignorance that the Democratic side has too. You just interrupt people and you yell at people. Your higher voice, so that you could talk over people. That's what you guys do too.
Do you need a Kleenex?
For what?
For your fucking tears, bro.
I don't have tears, but
yeah, you're crying right now, dude.
Like, Republicans can lost an election.
Oh my god, dude, you talked over me because you were trying to clarify something. How dare you? How dare you talk over me when I was saying something that was completely fucking wrong? How dare you?
Okay, go ahead, talk.
I would love to. Would you like to remind me where we were in the conversation? Because you fucking got me off, man. That's crazy. You got me completely off the conversation in my head. Go ahead.
Okay.
Remind me. I will immediately remember.
Sam, the stuff that you're saying is going.
Sam, I get you.
Crazy.
Let's have a genuine dialogue. Okay. Is that fine?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't run away. It's fine. I was arguing, like, at what point do you draw the line, essentially, right? And I'm trying to figure out if you would draw the line and say, if Donald Trump were to shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and you knew for a fact that he did this, would you still support him over Kamala Harris?
No, but if he did that and committed a crime, he wouldn't be able to run for presidency. Okay. So I wouldn't be able to vote for him.
Next question. If you knew for certain that he raped a woman, would you vote for him over Kamala Harris?
No, but
No. Okay.
but
Next
you
question.
don't know for certain that he raped a woman.
Sure. Next question.
Correct.
Do you think that there should be harsher qualifications on who's allowed to legally immigrate to the country or become president of the United States?
Say it again.
Do you think there should be harsher qualifications on becoming president of the United States or legally immigrating to the country?
See, I agree on both. I agree that there's more there's very vague regulations that have to be passed to be president. I think that more tests should have to be taken to see if if you're capable of doing the job. A lot of the things I get, I 100% get that with rape, all that stuff. I think everybody should be filed, documented, and checked. I think tests should be taken, but I also can't just say I hope that there's no restrictions on immigration. I want our country to be safe. I don't think it was safe under the Biden administration. People were getting killed by illegal immigrants. I don't want that either because there's American civilians getting killed. You understand what I'm saying?
Can I follow through with my question, please?
Yes.
Okay. So you do agree there should be stricter qualifications for presidency versus legally immigrating to the country, right?
Barely, yes.
Barely?
I think that illegal immigration is one of the biggest problems and
Oh my God, bro.
in America.
I can't, dude. Listen to me, please. I'm saying legal immigration. I'm not talking about illegal immigration. I'm saying legal. Okay? Should there be harsher qualifications to become president of the United States comparative to legally immigrating to the country?
Okay, I thought you were meaning like the illegal immigration and trying to see if they're legal. No, I agree with you.
Okay, there should be harsher qualifications for becoming president compared to becoming a legal citizen through immigration.
I misunderstood you there. Yes, I'm 100% right.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Let me continue with this. I got you. Okay. Do you think that if you were to, be in a situation, you get to determine whether they're allowed to legally enter the country or not, and you figure out they meet every other set of criteria possible to be able to come to the country, but there's one thing you have to look over to determine whether or not you think they should be allowed to be let into the country. They were held civilly liable of forcefully penetrating a woman's vagina against her will. Would you let them legally enter the country if you were able to authorize or not authorize them to come into the country?
No, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. Okay. Given that you believe that there should be harsher qualifications on becoming president of the United States comparative to legally entering the country, well then, if there's a standard placed on, say, legally entering the country, well then that standard must also be placed on becoming president of the United States, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So given that you wouldn't let someone legally enter the country if they were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, well, then you shouldn't let Donald Trump become president because he was held civilly liable of forcefully penetrating E. Jean Carroll's vagina against her will, unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people. So if Donald Trump were trying to legally immigrate to the country, you would restrict him from coming to the country. So if you would restrict him, he left. He ran, immediately ran. He's gone. Look at that. He ran real quick. Look at that. He ran right away.